And folks, here we are. I always put Vinch in the blue and Heartt in the red because Vinch goes for purple. I think this makes more sense. And folks, we are catching up. My apologies, but it's been a marathon of a day. I needed to find a small moment for a break. Vinchester against Heartt. We are caught up to live time. We've got Vinchester playing as the Romans. He's gone for a barracks, which is not something you typically see. Heartt spots that. And Heartt is playing as the Italians, and he is clearly going to go for more of the fish boom approach. I think that's why you probably see this Sid picked. But map is Fractal, and whoever wins this is the final player to join the rest in the main event at the Garrison in Hamburg, Germany, March 13th through 16th. But Vinch is maybe going to go man-at-arm tower here. And earlier today, we saw someone try this. And it was very interesting. They essentially invested into land before going for the dock. I'd never really seen this before. The games are live. It feels very slow because we just sped up. But yeah, like I said, it's been an 8-hour day. I consider both of these two in my top 10. So I always felt like this was going to be the most competitive series. We didn't have a ton of time to talk about it, to like speculate on who's the favorite here. So maybe chat can give me their thoughts. I think Heartt is my favorite if he's playing from home, which they are, obviously. If it was a LAN event, I might prefer Vinchester. But it's super close, right? It really just comes down to who can bring their level here on the day. And Vinchester always is going to have some crazy things that he has up his sleeve. Things that Heartt is usually not going to expect. And I think the last time they played each other was in Wandering Warriors Cup, and Vinchester swept him. Look at Vinchester already. Like, the militia have forced Heartt to do something he was not prepared to deal with here. But so far, no kills have happened. So, Heartt will play into a range. Heartt brings the spearman in. Good addition from him to attempt to kill that scout. Good micro there from Vinchester. That's crazy. Vinchester behind this is out of the dock and is fishing. Now, Heartt dropped the dock. He's just now fishing. But Heartt has dock blocked. And he also placed a palisade. I wonder if that's to block a dock position. It's kind of weird. Oh, and there's a weak Vil from Heartt. Why is she there? I guess she'll be okay, maybe. Yeah, this is so micro-intensive. It's crazy. Like, how does Vinchester get this much value from 2 militia and a scout? It's so annoying. The weak villager has now left. The spearman is still there. And Heartt is probably sitting here like, what have you done to me? Now, Heartt is expecting some type of archer range follow-up. It does happen for Vinchester. And now Vinchester doing his best to still threaten, potentially kill Vils. He kills the spearman, but he loses the scout. And so all things considered, I guess Heartt will be fairly happy. He keeps the scout alive, and he kills the militia. Dang. Mango Die, what's up? Says, Happy New Year of AOE2 streaming. Hey, thank you. I know you've been around a bit. Should be a good year, guys. Should be a really good year. It's funny. On my calendar, I had January, like, 1st through 6th as my downtime before Titans League kicks off, because we'll be going crazy with Titans League here soon. I thought the qualifier would lead to maybe, like, a 7-hour day. But we're at 8 hours going into the final series, baby. Let's go. It's still wild to me Vinchester has not built a second dock here to dock block, but I guess both players are just assuming the other one's not going to be exposed there. Vinchester has archers. He'll know his opponent will as well, but he doesn't have a scout, so he can't keep track of where Heartt is at the moment. I think Heartt is going to be in a safer position. The walls will provide extra safety, and then the dock block provides some extra safety. And then eventually he may build a second dock in the back so he can have more efficient fishing. Fletching isn't in for Heartt yet. I think his blacksmith was placed, so he'll probably get that soon. But here comes Vinchester. We'll be really happy to find this army, but we'll be really unhappy with this fight. Could have actually been worse for him. He hasn't lost a unit yet, but to have Fletching on the way, it's a little sloppy. But Really nice control. Can anyone remind me if Vinchester and Heartt played each other in Noble Apartment Cup? Maybe look that up. I don't think they did. I think Vinchester played... he played 5 other players in the group stage, and then it didn't play Heartt in the playoffs. Because it's an interesting matchup where, like, I find that Vinchester's creativity really shines against someone like Heartt. Whereas, like, Heartt might have a... Heartt has an issue with creativity, but he could pretty much meta anyone off the planet, so... And usually the meta players can beat the creative players. I think maybe he needs more experience there. Good clear up there from Heartt. So, Mem spoke to Kingston. Apparently, Kingston said he was about to go out with a friend instead of playing Sebastian in the qualifier yesterday because he believed he couldn't beat Sebastian. But his parents convinced him to not go out with his friend. Wow, that's crazy. And then Kingston beats Sebastian 3-2. And then Kingston wins the previous series and will make it to the main event. That's sick. Man, you're telling me if I didn't have friends, I could be winning these things? Dang. Well, I guess I gotta choose my friends in success, and I'll choose friends. Heartt's fishing economy is kind of rough here. He needs that second dock. This is painful. He can't drop off the food. Traffic jam! Oh, God. That's so painful. But Heartt's got nice army count here. It's a little deceiving, though. I think Heartt will get excited about that fight and then immediately get very disappointed because the scouts are here. But he does have a spearman. Oh, but Vinchester traps him! Vinchester with the plays! Vinchester traps every single skirmisher. What a play from Vinch. Beautiful play. 4 skirms will be dead. Vinch is on the way to Castle Age well before Heartt. And I was a bit curious on how things would go at the very start here because there's been a lot of waiting for these guys. They could have potentially played 3 hours ago. And in my interactions with players, I know Heartt really likes to play late. Heartt's more my time zone. And a lot of Age of Empires is based around more of the European time zone. So he was like, I would prefer to play at night instead of in the morning. And I think Vinchester prefers to play in the mornings. And it is now currently like kind of late where he lives. So clearly Vinchester is just in fantastic shape to start off the series, which is why I bring that up. And Heartt now clicks up to Castle Age. But remember, it's cheaper for the Italians to click up. And there's still this big of a difference with the uptimes. It's crazy. Vinchester's in Mexico. Oh, I didn't know he was in Mexico. Thank you for the perspective, Nikov. Because I remember in other events, when he was in Thailand, he was asking for different starting times, which made sense. And I didn't hear any chatter about that, so... Okay, so they're kind of in the same time zone, then. Wait a second. If Vinchester qualifies, he and Kingston can go party it up tonight. Let's go, Kingston. Book the reservation just in case. No, I'm kidding. Vinchester will be Kingston's new friend because he bailed on his other friends to play. Scouts are through. This is tough for Heartt right now, but he hasn't been broken. What could break him is a castle on his face, though. And I think Vinchester needs to place the castle right in here because it would range this gold. He's waiting for the stone. He'll drop it off. He'll get the stone. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's waiting. And he'll get this castle up. I mean, Heartt would have to buy a tower, maybe, to deny that. But the Scorpion's there. Like, geez, Vinchester. This is crazy pressure. Vinch also walked over here to build a couple houses, which is interesting. So he knows that you can walk around this back end to get out. You don't have to chop through. But Heartt will have a castle on his face to deal with. He'll have knights to deal with. And this is going to be an uphill battle for Heartt. He doesn't have the fish trap set up yet. Italians could eventually get there. He does wall behind. But that's not going to be something he can realistically rely on long term. And the gate goes down. Oh, stone gate. Okay. The gate was merely replaced. But this TC is going to be shot down. So you'll be down a town center. You can just tell Hearttt really was not prepared for this type of game. Wait a second. Vinchester hasn't dock blocked? Are you kidding me, Vinch? That's nuts. Also, I don't know what these vills are doing, but he doesn't have wood for anything. I think Vinch is... He also doesn't have a market. I actually think this is a deceiving situation. If Hearttt goes forward with fire galleys and kills the fish, and Vinch doesn't sort out whatever he's doing with these vills, this could still be okay for Hearttt. The scouts coming through. And Hearttt deletes his own dock so he can get his units through. I don't particularly love that because it opens up an avenue for the opponent, but Hearttt has a monk. Or could maybe get a conversion here. And with a conversion and killing the opponent's fish, this could be good for Hearttt, and he converts the Centurion. Let's go. That's definitely the unit you want to convert there. He does lose the monk, though. Aims for another conversion. Vinch deletes one of his knights. Heartt's okay. Like, I think Vinch is trying to fast imp. It's just baffling to me he never dock blocked there. Now, Heartt's probably like, what? I have a chance now? To lose his TC, but he has 12 fishing ships against 0. And Vinchester, he does have an awkward civ to play long term here. Hearttt also expanded into the back. This is like, if someone gives... Obviously, this isn't the case, but... How many people here has had someone give them a strategy, and they give you, like, the first 3 steps, and you do the 3 steps, and it works really well, but then you have no clue what to do from there. You're like, I had the build order up till Castle Age. But now no one can tell me what to do anymore. And I have no clue where to go from here. It's kind of what it feels like. Dude, I mean, Vinch is also wide open. Like, Vinchester can be raided. He never walled over here. Nikov says he's the first player I've seen in years who forgets to dock block. Yeah. And the thing is, Nikov, it's so infuriating because he's played the rest of this perfect. It's been an otherwise flawless game. It's fast imp into trebuchets. Trebs will completely destroy Hearttt, most likely. But this has given Hearttt a real opportunity. Hearttt has the fish traps going. If Hearttt can get up to imp here soon, he's got the superior economy. He could push this back. Like, Nikov is correct. This is... The dock block might sound fun to say, but it is just... It is meta on this map. You have to do it if you have fishing ships. And now Vinchester will drop another castle. Hearttt knows about this. And oh my god! Bro! Hearttt needs to bring all his vills. You can't let this castle go up. You cannot let this castle go up. Okay, Vinch backs up. The Heartt's castle will go up. Hearttt still hasn't clicked up, which is important. The thing is, if I'm Hearttt, I don't think it would really make a lot of sense to me to see Vinchester in imp. I think I would just be more confused than anything. I'd be like, how? It makes no sense. But he is up. And Vinchester will actually just drop a TC now, which is also weird. I don't know why he doesn't go for the castle. But he will have trebs early enough where 1 castle treb production is going to be a big problem for Hearttt. Heartt's got some mental hurdles to climb right now. Like, really has to think on how he can manage this. But Italians are the more flexible civ long term. Without a castle, he could still rely on monks, possibly. And go into hand cannons and bombard cannons to push this castle back. There's options here. Poor Nikov. Nikov, do you want me to ban him? Poor Nikov's hanging out in chat. Nikov's been great with eco upgrades for, let's say, a couple years now. He's been much better. Because we properly bullied him as a community into getting eco upgrades. And then Kingston didn't get horse collar until an hour in, and someone clips the link. Or like links the clip, sorry. The title is Nikov has been dethroned. Nikov says it's all on you, T90. You started the meme. Don't put this on me. No. I should get 10% a sub for that. Don't put this on me. This is chat's fault. Not on me. Guys, I started off being very excited by how Vinchester has played. But I followed this up by being just very confused. To sit here and give your opponent time to repair this castle and to stop after 2 trebs is wild to me. To not build the second castle immediately off a fast imp is kind of wild to me. On the back of not having the dock block, which could end up being the big reason he ends up falling behind in this game. Res collected, he's still ahead. He does end up taking out the castle, but if his plan is to advance with Cav, there's still 9 Genoese crossbow. There's still some monks here. Hearttt can be okay here. It's not going to be an easy road for Hearttt, but this is maybe doable. Another castle from Vinchester, though. I don't know if Hearttt can deny this one. And so it was just a patient approach from Vinchester. I don't know if that castle can be completed. We might have a doubt sighting here in the final series, the Garrison qualifier. It's... At the very least, the villagers get converted, I think. Okay, villagers are getting converted. The Genoese are there. Vinchester doesn't have an option to counter this. There could be bombard cannons on the way. Castle's at 50%. Vinch needs to bring more vills. He's farming over here now. He might actually be intentionally cutting... Oh, dude, that would be crazy to cut through there on purpose. Hearttt really needs ballistics right now. That castle's not going up. 60%. Nope. The Genoese crossbowmen are very weak right now. They're lacking upgrades. Hearttt will get those upgrades. Such a crazy game. Such a messy game, right? And that's by design. This is what Vinchester wanted. Just bringing more vills. Castle's now up to 69%. Hearttt has 0 stone, by the way. He doesn't have any stone income. And now he has this bomber cannon, which could change the game. Bomber cannon could take the trebs. What's happening? 2 bomber cannons. Vinchester, does he have an army that can compete here? Hearttt can't make more Genoese crossbowmen, but the Genoese crossbowmen he does have been shredding. And the trebs go down! The trebs go down, and the cannons are going to stay alive. I just, Vinchester, bro. Castle! Okay, but can he shoot the cannons? Can he shoot the bombard cannons? He can't get the bombard cannons, so he still needs to engage here. And this castle could soon go down. What a crazy game. This is super messy right now. If Hearttt can get rolling with hand cannon, bombard cannon, I don't know what the Romans can really do. And he's making the hand cannons now. That's the calm. That's pretty much what you need against Romans. Obviously, full knight play could be pretty good against that, but there's enough monks and there's enough Genoese in the mix. I think Vinchester is intentionally cutting through here so he can raid the other side, which he thinks will be a factor. But that's more of a factor if the guy isn't on water. He's fishing this side. And the castles are just melting for Vinchester. I think Hearttt is going to win this game. Felt like the perfect opening for Vinchester. He had plenty of opportunity. I think not dock blocking and not going for the double castle treb to take down Hearttt a little bit faster would be something he might regret here. He is definitely chopping through, which will be crazy, especially if he chops through right now and Hearttt gets spotted on this stone, because that's Heartt's only stone income. But this will be tough for the Romans now. Their skirmishers are not very strong. The scorpions are cheap, but that's tough against those bombard cannons. There goes Vinchester, though. No way, dude. That's crazy. So now he can raid. He walks through. He'll kill those vills. Now, Hearttt just needs to push. But Hearttt will be distracted now. If he even notices this. It looks like he did notice it. Player in Heartt's position needs to resist every single urge to pull any of this army back home to deal with that. You have to keep this army together and hope that you're okay over there. Maybe drop a TC or two, but you always focus on this. Vinchester getting Cavalier now. Vinchester dropping University, I guess for maybe Chemistry, maybe Ballistics. He's even walking through here with Vills. This is a big moment, though. To not know about this, to not find those Vills means that the second that Hearttt takes his castle out, he can replace it with one of his own. Credit to Hearttt, guys. This is kind of common at times with Hearttt. If he encounters something crazy at the start, he can maybe crumble to it. He needs to get a feel for his own control in a game. And once he gets that control, you could tell when he starts to have that rhythm. And this is going to be big, man. To have things go so wrong at the start and then bring it back in such a crazy scenario, such a crazy map, will be really important for him. A castle from Vinchester here. I mean, Vinchester, bro. He just looks stuck. He doesn't know what to do. This castle will not go up. This castle from Hearttt will go up. And Heartt's army just continues to move forward. Unfortunately for Vinchester and all Vinchester fans, an example of Vinchester maybe being a little too creative. Or at least just missing one basic aspect of the strategy. He thought about all the crazy stuff, but completely forgot about the water. And I think the water is what gave Hearttt a real opportunity back. The Scorpions are getting shredded. The skirmishers are getting shredded. Hearttt will steal the relics. Vinchester's castle denied at 40%. And Vinchester is completely and utterly dead here, guys. There's no option. And he calls the GG. Wow. I mean, I don't like to say this that frequently, even though we have the emotes. But full credit to Hearttt for the comeback. He did a great job to stay in it with the chances he was given. At this level, you gotta toy around with saying the word throw. The resources collected were so good for Vinch. He had such a nice lead. The forward castle was so good. And from this position, if he's going to be an imp faster and Heartt's about to lose a town center, this is great. Drop a dock here, which everybody does. Drop a dock here so these fire galleys can never come through. And then focus on 4 trebuchets and push those castles down. I think that time that he gave Hearttt to mass Genoese crossbowmen and repair that castle was critical here. Like, Hearttt was able to get up to 10 Genoese crossbowmen because he wasn't immediately trebbed down. And even the trebs that did came out, he stopped at 2. And conscription is a long upgrade. It helps you produce units faster. But the issue is kind of stopping Hearttt from being able to have time. And Hearttt had a lot more time here because conscription upgrade instead of 4 trebs. So I think economically, Hearttt would have never had the safety and protection to add the amount of fish that he did if that was dock blocked. Because you could see Hearttt sending fishing ships over there. And that was just such a big swing for Vinchester there. So strategy was good. Execution maybe a little bit off. But Hearttt, understanding that when you get pushed like that and you have the fish, can still get the job done. A really good move. And really good move to go for the hand cannons as well. He understood his comp. Game number 2, Hearttt will be very grateful that he was able to get the first win in the first game. Felt like Vinchester was a man with a plan, but missed a step or two to really capitalize there. We've got Vinch playing as the Armenians. This was his #1 civilization pick. And then Hearttt didn't prioritize Dravidians so highly, but the main reason for that is with the maps. Once he saw Armenians, he pretty much knew Armenians would be played on migration. And so he didn't need to prioritize a migration pick till way later. So, in fact, he actually went Italian super early so he could win on Fractal. Got the win on Fractal. And now, yeah, obviously has the Dravidians here, which is a good civ to work with. I think both civs are top tier on this map. Dravidians getting the extra wood and extra pop space from the houses and carry capacity from the fish is crazy. But Armenians have the mule carts, the efficiency, the free relic, the warrior priest to collect the relics, and then probably one of the best navies in the later stages of the game. So Might be number 1, number 2 in terms of the pecking order of migration. And people may argue which one's number 1 and number 2 here, so very close. But yeah, chat, it's been an 8-hour day, so I'm going to drink some water. And I'll open it up to some questions, if you guys have any. We've had 8 hours of content before this. We had like 7 hours yesterday, and then I haven't been online for 4 weeks. So, Dark Age on migration as this deer is trolling Hearttt right now. It's also going to go around the gold, probably. Oh, it didn't go around the gold. Nice. But yeah, so good time for me to interact with you guys a little bit. Man. Water's good. Forget that sometimes. Water's good, man. What can Romans do against hand cannon pikes? Well, Romans have an early game advantage against most civs that can go hand cannon pike. So, gaining an early lead in Feudal Age and Castle Age to get a good position in the game is the key, which Vinchester did in the previous game, but he lacked a couple follow-up steps, in my opinion, so. When do you go for Centurion upgrade as Romans? The unique unit feels weird. Along the same lines, I think if you get a really nice lead, you then can use that lead to leverage into Centurions. But I agree that it feels awkward. It just feels like the unit's maybe a little too expensive, or maybe getting to that is tough when there's other weaknesses in the Roman tech tree, which is why most pros will just go for Scorpions and Pikes and whatnot instead. So, Fortune Cookie, I can add the flags. I just forgot. It's been a long day. No worries. We got to Peru and Russia. Vinchester typically plays in the pink, so I never really know what to do with that because that's one of the worst colors to use for color blindness. And I guess Hearttt doesn't really care about colors too much, but I feel like with the flags, these colors make sense. Vikings on this map, I'm not the biggest fan of because I think there's a need for fire galleys. If you play Vikings, you have to go crazy investment on water just to ensure that you win, and then you are going to struggle with the land control. But Vikings, I could still see being very strong because we do see a heavy galley approach in this tournament. So, have you ever wanted to cast an NFL game? Yeah, I mean, Joe Buck invited me once, but then Troy Aikman got really pissed about that. He was a little drunk at the time, and he gave me a call and said some mean things. So I figured let's just give Troy Aikman that opportunity to continue doing what he's known for. No, I mean, I think it would be really cool at some stage in my life to like cast something else, but getting to the level of casting something else being my job or being like the big leagues would take a lifetime of commitment, right? Anyone who's doing that stuff typically is started from the ground up, like I did with streaming, and built up over a really long time. I love what I do. I'm not gonna go like down into the weeds and try and work my way through doing some other things. I'm not that passionate about trying anything else. Maybe like, you know, in the future, if the game dies and I don't know, every one of you leaves me, you know, if that happens, maybe I'll be forced to change roles in the future. But so to answer your question, I kind of have some interest in experimenting and maybe casting some other things, but I probably will never do anything like that unless this whole thing stops. So yeah, good question. I don't know if I should read this, but it's been a long stream, and I think people will enjoy it. T90 Official, my girlfriend and I were playing Age, and all of a sudden she commented on how I don't last long enough for her to finish. I'm not sure what she meant because I stayed alive until the very end of the game. Can you help me? She wants you to send her resources, so just research coinage and send her some gold, and maybe that will be okay. I don't know, dude. I regret reading that message. That was weird. Fire's Fast Castle. And Vinchester's actually galleys, so we've got difference of approach here. Now, in 3 villager start, it was fast castle fires virtually every single game. But in the 9 villager starts, I've been seeing a lot of galley play. So typically, the galleys don't have enough time to get there for them to pay off. But I don't know. It feels like Vinchester's actually gone the right direction. Docking the side makes a lot of sense, and he's actually showing up right to where Heartt's fishing. It's not like Heartt is fishing all the way over here. But it is true that it's going to take Vinchester a little bit of time here. So thank you, Poor Protagonist, for the 17 months. Thank you, Phantom Dreamer, for the 13. Cole's card, what's up? Sunny PP, thank you. Doc, thanks for the new Prime. Frederick, thank you. Oh my god, and Azure Sentry gifted 20 subs? When was that? That must have been during my break. Thanks, dude. Sorry about that. It's been a long one. So, going fast castle with the Dravidians, in my opinion, is the best way to play them on this map because you're taking advantage of receiving the additional wood as quickly as possible. So, he already received the plus 200. Now Heartt is here with some vills. Then he'll get the plus 200 when he makes it to Castle Age again. Vinchester's been very patient with the galleys. And I think he's going to have a tough time if Heartt gets War Galley. I think there was an opportunity for Vinchester to be more aggressive here, but he probably wants to conserve these galleys for all throughout Castle Age. TC in the middle of the map from Heartt. And he will also drop a forward dock there. So that is a pretty vulnerable position long-term, if you ask me. And Vinchester also snipes the transport ship. Vinchester 40 seconds away from being up. Heartt 15 seconds away from his upgrades on his ships here. So he only lost one ship. Well, one fire ship. He'll have 8 of them on the map. I think Vinchester's fish could be completely toast here. Like, now that the fires are upgraded, Vinch can't really reinforce to get more numbers to this army or navy because it's on the other side of the map. And the fires from Heartt, if microed properly, could sneak around and snipe those fishing ships. So Heartt faster to the second TC in the middle. And Heartt in a really nice position, in my opinion. He's played it nicely. And I think a lot of it depends a lot on various factors. Like, I think what could happen here is Heartt will snipe the fish. Is Vinchester will maybe have the stronger navy. But Vinchester only has 5 fire galleys. Or sorry, 4 fire galleys and 5 war galleys. So it's not like he's up to 15 or so. This is sick for Heartt. Sometimes, though, arriving second to the middle is nice. Heartt had to place the TC as quickly as possible just so he could ensure that he gets it up. And then Vinchester gets to pick his spot based on what he knows. He will see the TC is there. He also knows about the sneak dock from Heartt on this side. Heartt has more fires coming this way. Heartt's got so many fire ships. Vinchester does not have enough to compete with this. If Heartt finds these fish, they're dead. Even here, Vinchester kind of struggling to keep track. The scout's also engaging. Heartt with more HP than Vinchester here. And there's the TC for Vinch, but he will start to get these relics. That'll be at least 3 relics into that monastery. First one's free from the church with the Armenians. And then the other 3, actually, are right around. But Vinch will have no food income. At least he'll have no food income on water. This has been a perfect migration game from Heartt. Oh, except for the TC spot. That's actually so annoying. The fact that TC can be ranged by war galleys is such an annoying situation. Oh. It's a little bit like the previous game where everything is going according to plan for a player and then one thing makes it start to unravel a little bit. But this is harder to think about ahead of time. The lack of a dock block was pretty egregious from Vinchester. So, something I am thinking of that I would like to investigate. So, old water maps, or some water maps, if in the base game even, default to size 3, even if you have it set to tiny. And for my water maps, for islands and for migration, we would have it on size 3, but other tournaments would have it on size 2. And the reason the size matters here in this instance is because of the spacing on the land. So essentially, if the map is slightly smaller, if it is size 2, you have less room to move around on migration. And so I've noticed with this version of migration, it does feel like it can be very constrained in the middle. So I don't know who did the maps for this. I'll have to ask them, but I don't know. At the same time, the starting island seems bigger. Yeah, the starting island's bigger and the middle island's smaller. So it might still be size 3. Anyways, Vinchester is behind economically with numbers, but he does have relics, and he does have a siege workshop. And Heartt's TC just seems like an absolute nightmare to defend right now. And the war galley counts getting up there for Vinchester. Heartt will need to find a really nice surround. I think the worry for Heartt is that his fires just get hit and run nonstop. And if Vinchester can have a proper placed demo or two, it could be a problem for Heartt. Let's see, though. Heartt had so much control. He has very little control right now. And Vinchester has the fires in front. Heartt is struggling to get control with these fires. It was such a good opening. I really think that if this TC wasn't being attacked, he would be on the 3rd town center now, and everything would be even greater economically. And then it's kind of okay to not have the water. Oh, but he's dropping a castle here. And that must be because he sensed this and scouted this. That's really good scouting from Heartt. Yeah, I think it would have been disastrous if this position could get pushed. And this castle's sick. It doesn't protect the TC, but it cuts off the middle of the map. Just so unfortunate that TC is likely to go down. Vinchester comes over here with some fires. There's also a forward dock from Vinchester. I think he's had that for a while. Heartt will lose some of his fish, but he had great value. Heartt is clearly distracted right now. He's losing all of his fishing ships. He'll lose his TC. And Vinchester's clawing his way back into this game. TC down for Heartt in the middle. Only 6 fishing ships for Heartt, but Heartt will be an imp. Now, this whole fire v war galley situation changes massively if Heartt can get to fast fires. So if Heartt gets to fast fires, the fast fires will just utterly destroy these war galleys, and there's really no hope of surviving that in Castle Age if you're Vinch. Vinchester's forward dock will likely go down, but not before landing a decent demo here. Let's see. Oh, he lost it at 99%. It's a doubt demo. Okay. Heartt doesn't know that that just happened. But the AoE gods, the AoE gods are really shining bright on him there. But now Heartt was getting pressured on this side. So this will be for Trebs for Heartt to start to treb all this down. And then fast fire. That will be his plan. He's really struggling with food. Compared to Vinchester anyways. Vinchester's got a really healthy food eco here. Even without the fish. Now, Heartt's definitely relied a lot more on those fishing ships, right? And he only has 6 now. Nice demo hit. Vinchester's still missing ballistics. But most of these ships are weak for Heartt. I think, again, this is going to turn into all those trebs. I wonder if Heartt will go for a risky forward castle next to the siege workshop. Because you're never expecting Vinch to make siege now that he knows your castle's there. You might be able to get away with a castle right next to that. And now another TC is in range of Navy. Oh, man. I don't think I would really enjoy this map if I were Heartt. It feels like there's going to be a lot of scars related to migration. But he's still winning, in my opinion. I mean, imp timing is everything on this map. And he still could surround this army and kill this army. He's conserved his fires. He has his castle. Vinchester's clicked up. Vinchester will make it to Imp, but Vinchester might not have these relics for very long. Wonder how long it takes for Vinchester to queue up demos. He's got one. I feel like we might have him queue up a couple demos after seeing his opponents in Imp. We might see Vinchester transport the relics home. That is, of course, okay in a vacuum. That is really tough to focus on right now. But if you know you're getting Treb pushed from the middle, you might just want to make 4 Warrior Priests, send those bad boys to your main island. Put it in the back corner or something. We don't actually see any demos in queue here for Vinchester. He'll add his own fires in front. Armenians do not get fast fire. So it's more about the war galleys than anything, but he needs some type of a buffer in front. Hearttt seems to be clicking those units through to kill the weak galleys there. It's really good micro. This game is so freaking even right now. But imagine being Hearttt. Like, if Hearttt wins this game, he's killing off his opponent's #1 pick. He's up 2-0. And has all the momentum in the series. Vinchester's creativity is usually so important. In game #1, I mean, the creativity worked until it didn't. Here, this is more of a standard approach from Vinchester, and Hearttt, I think he's just ever so slightly outplayed him in the timings, at least so far. The relic getting brought over to this monastery now. War galleys on the way, or sorry, galleons on the way now for Vinch. But Hearttt has 17 fires around the map. He's got them everywhere. And he's looking for this. Does he know they're hiding right now? He lost track of them. He's probably like, where are they? You could tell he was looking for them in the middle. The fire ships even look confused. Because he chased them this way. He assumed they would go through. He then looked for them. He can't find them. And this is where Vinch is hiding right now. Vinch is also sending those relics back to the monastery. But Heartt's got Trebs ready to go already for this castle. He looked for that and immediately followed up with his own Trebs. And Ballistic still isn't in for Vinchester. He's missing some volleys there. He does have a big force, though, so Hearttt needs to push on land. This could get dangerous. Vinchester will have skirms as well. Yeah, it's just Navy and Siege for Hearttt. Oh my god. The Warrior Priests. The Warrior Priests that were made to save the relics are going to take out a Treb. What in the world? And also, I'm not sure if Hearttt deleted that castle. Maybe he did. But it's possible he lost a stone there. I think he probably deleted it. He didn't have enough for a castle because he obviously had built that quite a bit there. 14 galleons for Vinch. That's still just not the number that he needs. He needs 20 or 30. He needs the unique tech. But Warrior Priests are back at it against a Treb. May be able to get the snipe, but probably not. And Vinch is clinging to life on the end of this island here. He's at least stalled this out. Holds on to some relics. Maybe needs to snag this one. Still doing his best to sorry, I'm running out of words because it's been such a long day. He's doing his best to conserve his numbers. Vinch needs that dock to go down before the Dramon's created. He would have lost the Dramon, so that's actually really good for Vinch. As weird as that sounds. Bombard cannons. So unbelievably strong in this situation. And Armenians can't make bombard cannons. The Dravidians can't, and it's cheaper. Vinchester has no town centers here. Hearttt still has his TC. Hearttt still has... Oh my goodness! Wait, did he find this in his pockets when he was doing laundry? Like, $20 is $20. He's got 20 fires headed this way. He must have had a rally point set randomly and didn't realize it. I don't really know, but once those fires arrive, I think Vinchester will be completely taken off of water. Maybe not. He still has time to group up. But Hearttt is at least pushing on land right now. And his bombard cannons will snipe the Treb. And Vinchester is crumbling here. And he might be dead. What else is he supposed to do about this? Pretty soon, he'll lose all these vills. He's lost his relics again. He's got nothing, guys. This is Heartt's game to lose from here. He's adding his own skirms. And here are the fires now. Vinch is never expecting this amount of fires. He's expecting like 5. No one waits for 14. So I don't know if Heartt planned this or if it was an accident or what. But it doesn't matter. The GG is called and Heartt wins 2 straight. Game number 1 probably living in Vinchester's mind right now. This could be a 1-1 series. But Vinchester instead down 2 games. And he loses that game with his number 1 civilization pick. I think the way Heartt played this, his opening to Castle Age, was pretty much perfect. It was obviously unfortunate for Heartt that his TC was ranged by the galleys. But like beyond that, because that's kind of hard to think about, I think he played a perfect game. I think the FC approach is so much stronger here because you can get to those TCs faster. The fires killed all the fishing ships from Vinchester. He was able to keep his fish alive. It was well played from Heartt. But the job's not done yet. I'm still seeing promising signs from Vinch. I think the key with Vinch is creativity to get ahead. If he's creative to get ahead, that's where he can make things difficult for Heartt. But Heartt just had such a solid build-up. He got such a big lead early castle. I think it was always going to be tough for Vinchester to recover without the full water control. So, all right. So the guy who said Vinchester looked hopeless now has said that it's a 4-0 for sure. Okay. I'm definitely not bookmarking his name so we can look at that chat history later. Honestly, I will say this. 2 games up here for Heartt. He's feeling very good. And this is his number 1 Civ pick. And I was thinking at the very limited time I had to walk to go get my protein bar throughout the stream today about Persians. And I think Persians are absolutely insane. I think I might actually prefer Persians over Mongols on this map. Or over Chinese on this map. The TCs produce faster. The docks at TCs are stronger. Super nice with the hybrid build up on Costa Mountain, which Heartt and Vinchester are both going to try. I think this could be amazing. Now, I saw Vinchester play this map against Mihai. And it was the exact same Civ matchup. It was in the Titans League replacement qualifier. And Vinchester won that when he got to Camel Archer. But I think what Persians can do, they can control the map with camels and scouts and knights and all that stuff. And then play towards something like Trebor. You need the castles from the Berber player to be engaging in a Trebor so they can't produce camel archers. Or just take away those castles. And best way to do that is probably to focus on this mountain here. Actually, where's the stone for Vinch? So yeah, really safe stone position. Usually players will wall up between these wood lines. And Vinchester's slightly faster moving vills could allow him to bring in quite a few elephants here. If anyone was going to actually fight or compete for water, I think it would probably be the Persian player, just because they're the better hybrid civ. Yeah, I don't know if Savar is great. Because Savar can still die to heavy camel and camel archer. I personally think you want to get to a position where you can go Halb Seadram. But you can't go Halb Seadram from your side of the map. You have to take the map control and then go Halb Seadram once you have the middle of the map. You guys are never going to go back and be like, yeah, I really want to see an example of what T90's talking about. That very specific game that he remembers from a year and a half ago. But the best example of this exact matchup and outplaying the Berbers when you're worried about camel archers is the Barles versus Hera game. I think it was Titans League Season 3. It could have been Titans League Season 2. But Barles with a masterclass there against Hera was awesome. He took the castles out of the picture. Hera's like, okay, I'll just go hand cannons now. And then Seadram showed up and choo-choo and everything went down. So, but Savar can be really strong. But do you want to go Savar when there's cheap camels on the other side? That's a long road to Savar. They should be able to pick up on that in the Berber position and mix in the camels. So walls will come up from Vinch. He hasn't clicked up the feudal age yet. And Hearttt has clicked up. Does Hearttt see this elephants here? Does see it. I think he's collecting a bit of gold so he can win the water. Oh, and he goes 2 docks. Okay. There's not a ton of fish here, but there's enough. Raz, are you being sarcastic with your message? He says, I would love if you made a series where you go back and cast/recast specific games you remember about specific situations. I don't know if you're being sarcastic. I actually would love to do that. I really don't have the time. There's so many things happening, so. But I am planning out my year to essentially be very, very busy with tons of streams in Dust Titans League. And then having some periods of time where I'm more relaxed, still streaming, but not streaming all the time. I did that this year. Many of you guys might remember I was a little less active during the summer. And so I was going places. I took like 2 naps this year in 2024. 2. It was amazing. I still remember them. I was just more relaxed. And as a result, what was really fun is I had more time to pursue some of those ideas and to make some better YouTube videos. So, if that idea is still in my mind, come like late March, early April, I think it could be something to pursue. Full walls here from Vinchester. He's not on stone. So this isn't Fast Castle Camel Archer, but this is definitely Fast Castle. And Vinchester is losing his fishing ships right now. But he's making sure that he will micro his fishing ships to make life difficult for Hearttt. Good pickup from Hearttt, though. He goes 2 galleys to kill the fish. He immediately adds his own fish behind. And his camel has actually made it into Vinchester's walls before he completely walls up. So now he gets to see what Vinch is doing here. Which is pretty big, because if he sees his opponent's not on stone, that affects decision-making. But I don't mind what Vinch has done. I think if you try and compete in Feudal Age against the Persians, you're probably just going to be worse off. Berbers is where, Castle Age is where Berbers tend to really shine, so why not? And this puts some pressure on Hearttt to probably pressure you. Speaking of inspecting, the camel is here from Vinchester, and he can also look to see what Heartt's doing, so. Ooh, I like what Nikov's saying. Nikov says that Vinch should build the stable outside. That's true. Yeah, the Camel Scout is stuck in here. And the Camel Scout is going to see Market Blacksmith and just assume this is a standard FC. I think if Hearttt is really thinking about it, though, he should be able to pick up on if there's a stable based on how fast the TCs come up. But we'll see. Cucumber Salad says, has someone gone for a masterclass on this map and stone gated the top side? You mean the whole top side? Like across this area here? That might be too big brain. I have seen many instances where players will kind of create a cage for their units, though. I think it's an underutilized strategy, so. I think full stonewalling that is tough. Yeah, Vinchester actually did that in the game against Mihai, I'm thinking of. Dude, Jason, I want to call you out, bro. Earlier, when I was talking about the specific example with this exact Civ matchup from the Barles Hera game, you said it before the words came out of my mouth. And now, you're remembering that Vinchester did that move against Mihai. You're like a half a second faster than me. I love it. But yeah, basically he had a castle here. And then he stone gated this and stone gated this to block this area off. I think it's underrated. What is that? What? I mean, he's going to TC there, I guess? If he TCs next to it, it's... Oh, okay, it's perfect. Wait. You know what this is, guys? You know what this is? This is the farm I made in first-person AoE 2 last week. In the first-person game where against Hardy, I was building farms next to my TC, and there was this massive hill there. Oh, man. That's exactly what that is. That's so funny. That was fun. It's really stressful, by the way. I find it so funny if I play first-person AoE 2, because I'm immediately in the exact mindset that super noob Lowy the Legends are, where I'm like, okay, we'll get to 22 vills, but we don't have time to focus on making any more. Let's just drop castles. Then it's like, priority number 1 for me, murder holes. It just puts me in a noob mindset that I'm so far from in the main game. 9 fishing ships for Heartt. Great resources collected. And I would expect that he's going to be ahead in the boom this whole game. But can he stop the Berbers if the Berbers get to Camel Archers? It feels guaranteed that we will see Camel Archers now from Vinch. Because Heartt is not applying any pressure. Both players just dropping a monastery. And they will do their best to get the relics. I feel like this zebra misses his friends over here, you know? He looks really upset. And he knows he's about he knows he's about to die. And I don't think he's too thrilled about the situation. AoE 2 in VR would be crazy. I would definitely do that. That would be great content, but it's not made, unfortunately. Actually, if their scouts are stuck inside their opponent's base, what's their scouting like on the relics? Vinch doesn't see this one, so he won't have that. He doesn't see this one. He does know about this one, but he doesn't want to take that yet. What about Heartt? Yeah, so Heartt doesn't see any of the far relics either. That's interesting. Rectitude, if you don't know what first-person AoE 2 is, watch the videos I made. I made quite a few of them. But basically, you are a... Basically, it's the point of view of a villager. So you are... This would be third person, and then imagine you are looking from the villager's perspective. That's first-person AoE 2. It's not attached to the actual game. It's a mod. But it's pretty ridiculous stuff. It's good fun. And it is free as well, but it's a little buggy. It's an alpha. It was created by one dude who's a champ, so... Yeah, it's kind of like Age of Empires Minecraft. I think the camel actually escaped for Vinchester, did it not? It did. And it's over here right now. Heartt is looking for a relic and is going to find Vinchester's Ville. Ooh, but Vinchester saw that. And Vinchester gets to move around. I think for now this is innocent. This is probably just an outpost Ville. Heartt is definitely trying to bait a Garrison here on Vinchester's TC. Yeah, he can't help himself. He's such a nerd. He needs to do something with that. He's been moving it nonstop. I think there's actually a hole here now. So the camel might actually be able to escape. Vinchester getting relic number 2. Vinchester getting relic number 3. And guys, here we go. Vinch is doing what he did the last time we saw him play this matchup. And the last time we actually saw him play this map. This would have been right, like early December against Mihai on Costa Mountain. And he will try his best to wall up this choke point. Now, did Heartt watch that? I don't think Heartt has that information. I think there was maybe very little incentive for Heartt to pay very close attention to that series. It was a mini replacement qualifier. So it's a rather specific thing. And he has to delete his villager there. His monk is probably going to get clicked home. And he will not see this unless his monk paths to the left. Are you going to the left or the right, Mr. Monk? Okay, he sees it now. That's a pretty big deal, but that does make life awkward already for Heartt to advance out there. And there's the castle from Vinchester. Heartt has collected 2,000 more resources. He is 90 eco versus 67, but he does need to have a unit that could work well here. And there's some question as to what that could be. Savar could be it. I think, again, the camel archer number gets high enough. And you can also mix in regular camels. I think that could be really tough. Heartt doesn't have light cav. I think he can lose both of these scouts. Ah, dude, Heartt, you gotta know better than that, dude. Like, this whole game has been such a good boom from Hearttt, and that right there just makes his life so much more annoying. That was 2 monks starting the conversion against 1 scout. Vinch is always going to switch the second monk to the other scout. If it's light cav, it's different, but that's huge for Vinch. Now he walls this up. Now he has scouts on the field that he didn't even need to build up himself. Only now it's made the stable. And Vinchester looking pretty good right now, if you ask me. Hearttt now doesn't know what's happening back here, so... Well, actually, he does. He knows nothing is happening there. But he'll place this castle. This is a fine castle to get started. And it also will take down a piece of the wall. So actually, I would love to see Vinch just make another layer. Just right behind here. I like the vision from Hearttt with the outposts. And there should be no real surprises here. Could always convert a Vil here. Get the outposts out. But both are on the way to Imp. Savar is expensive. That is most likely the plan for Hearttt. But he could also opt for full heavy camel, I guess? I don't know. Vinch will try and wall behind here. It's not like Heartt's going to produce an elephant out of this castle to go stop the wall. Okay, now Vinch should know not to attack that monk. That's always a conversion. Vinch will delete that. Okay, what are these guys doing? They're better than that. I feel like their father right now. You should know better than that. We've talked about that. The first one, and now this as well, a little questionable. But in the end, I guess he kills the monk. He'll get the walls down. Heartt's dropping the stables now, and Vinchester will be okay. Also easy to forget that they're focused on a bunch of different things. So it's not like they're simply looking at that. Very easy for us to think that's a simple thing because it's the only thing we're thinking about. Okay, so Vinchester now knows my opponent's dropping stables. So let's not commit fully to Camel Archer. Let's just go heavy camel. And this is kind of the worry because Berbers have cheaper camels. They can out-camel you. And then what do you make against the camels if you're the Persians? You make halbs, and then they have the castles and the setup to immediately add in some more camel archers. So I think the safe play is to open heavy camel if you're Vinch. The thing Vinch is behind on, though, is some upgrades. But nice castle there on the hill. And I think Hearttt might try and push through the middle here. But I think he'll have a bit of a tough time. About 10 of his eco is also really inefficient right now because he hasn't fish trapped and they're traveling long distance. Vinchester also has the additional relic here. I think we'll see the unique text fly in for Vinchester. And heavy camel's already on the way for him. Maybe Hearttt could have opted for more map control because Vinchester gave him so much of the map. Or maybe Hearttt is just completely fine with where he's at right now. But he's going to start here. I actually don't love this castle from Vinch because I think this splits your production and this splits your attention. If you're outboomed, I think it might actually be better just to have all 3 castles on the hill and make this hill unbreakable. But players are going to try and get everything they can and be as greedy as possible. And I think Vinchester will pay the price here. He'll get conversions, but the TC will go down. His army is on the way to save the Vils. Hearttt takes down the TC. 135 eco for Hearttt. He has heavy camel. But Vinchester has the cheaper heavy camels and has just as many here. Yeah, so there we go. Now Hearttt sees heavy camel, and now he'll go halb. This is good messy situation here for Hearttt. To kill those 10 Vils, to deny this castle's huge. Vinchester's diving underneath the castle to kill the Treb as well. This is tough. Heartt's slowly just battering down every piece of wall that he sees. And Hearttt has good camel numbers. He has huge amounts on gold. He has huge amounts on food. And Vinch's castle's just alone over here. And this mix At least, I think that was the plan, because Vinch got Bodkin and got ballistics and whatnot. The mix has not worked so far for Vinch. So, will Hearttt go Ram? If it's just Trebs, it could get complicated. This is what Persians are good at. And I think this castle was such a dream for Hearttt. The second he sees that TC and sees this castle, he's like, that's a gift for me. That's a castle I don't have to deal with long term. Barracks didn't exactly complete there for Hearttt. It's still just camel production. And it's tough for him to get to the hill. Or I guess, as the map is named, the mountain. But maybe it's not. I mean, he has production over here now. Vinch will bait some units into the castle. But Vinch is still determined to defend this castle. And he might, honestly. But Hearttt brings 3 Trebs and a castle of his own to take that castle down. I love that move from Hearttt. Patience with the Trebs. And he could just steamroll his way right through. He does lose his Treb over on this side. But still, this castle doesn't do a lot for Vinchester right now. Vinch needs to protect this mountain. Still wondering if Hearttt will actually go for help. The barracks never got completed. He could honestly just use the production here. Perfect play with the trebuchets from Hearttt. He'll have Blast Furnace. Vinchester doesn't even have Castle Age upgrades on his camels. I mean, this is what you get when Hearttt can boom this well. 6,000 more resources for Hearttt. So he's paying full price for camels, but it's not that much more expensive. Vinchester will hope that he can do it with the camel archers behind, but even that, it's only 8 of them, right? And if Hearttt recognizes he has the upgrade advantage, you take this fight every single time. You have to click and double check that. But he's like 4 blacksmith upgrades up. And he's got the better eco setup right now because Vinchester got pushed off of so much gold. There's also this gold Vinchester has to abandon. And the 4-0 prediction from the random chatter that I said was crazy is looking really good right now for Hearttt. And you don't even need to worry about the camel archers at the moment. The camel archer number is only down to 6. Just out camel the camel civ, I guess. Yeah, Heartt's super consistent. I think that first game was really important. Vinch had a lead. He had something different. And it was not something Hearttt was expecting. And Hearttt was able to come back, calm the nerves. And calming the nerves of the first game is huge, especially for a player with so much ability. Yeah, Hearttt just knows. He's got better upgrades. The Camel Archer mass is too weak. This is over. He'll bring more Vills. He'll drop another castle. The castle for Vinchester will fall here. There's more Trebs over here. Vinchester will lose this castle as well. The Hearttt playing like an absolute maniac right now. 3-0 for Hearttt. 1 win away from making it to the main event of the Garrison. Confirming yet again he's top 8 in the world. And Vinchester, just still really haven't seen the spark from him today. Hearttt is so good. You need a little bit more map control. The thing that really bothered me from Vinch is I felt he lost map control on the left side because he had to defend the right. He was always going to be outboomed. That's unfortunate. When Heartt's playing this good and you have Persians on the other side and you go fast castle, you're going to be outboomed by Persians. But this castle, then he had to invest into attack. He had to invest his attention here, which allowed Hearttt to take the left side. And it was essentially the setup play. Hearttt did take out this castle initially, but he took out the TC. And then as Vinchester had everything over here, Hearttt was crumbling down the walls and slow creeping his way forward. I think if you don't have this area exposed, Hearttt then has to come maybe towards the middle, which is kind of awkward. Or maybe he just straight pushes the hill. At least if you can focus everything in one spot, it could be better for Vinchester. But have to say, lack of upgrades is surprising. And Hearttt will be very happy with how this has gone so far. Harris said Doubt didn't practice at all for NAC. Well, that's not true because I know they practiced at 3 a.m. together. So maybe he didn't feel like to the degree that other players did. I don't really know specifics there. But no, I know Doubt is super well prepared. Like, he was super well prepared for Wandering Warriors Cup, for example. And he looked good, but then that game 5 versus Leary, it's like Doubt has this issue right now. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's physical. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's 25-year-old keyboard. But he has this issue where he has a series exactly where he wants it, and then he lets it slip. And oh my God, that cow. Bro, what was that? The cow got stuck on the other side of the berries, and Vinchester showed up to lay him and just boinked down the cow. It's kind of frustrating for Heartt. Heartt's playing as the Gurjaras here. We got Aztecs for Vinchester. He's down 3 games. Vinchester needs some life. He needs some belief. He needs some hope. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. Like Doubt's whole situation is crazy. If you look at the last 2 years, I guarantee you, in most of the best of 5s he's lost, he was ahead. And I think it's become it's a talking point now. And it's in his own head, and I think that becomes a compounding issue. If you are known for throwing, it's going to come into your brain in the most important moments. So I feel for him because he's such a big competitor, and he's such a great player. But also at the same time, it is exciting to see players who are younger, very talented, finally be able to make the most of their situation. So it's a wider discussion, probably. So we had 2 reverse sweeps in the best of 5s in this tournament, but we have not had a reverse sweep in the best of 7s. Heartt's he's got plenty of leeway here, plenty of mistakes to be afforded here. Gurjaras, I find, is a very tough matchup to play against the Aztecs. Could be wrong, especially if the walls come up. Here comes Vinchester with the little drush. Like, Gurjaras, they can't make knights. Camels isn't very helpful against the civilization that can't make knights. If it gets to chakrams, it could be incredibly strong. But that's a unique unit, which is not really something that Heartt is known for. And it's tough to get to on this map because there's no stone around your TC. Heartt will have to branch out, take these stones and golds. And Vinchester just full walls here. Almost feels like a fast castle from Vinch. Similar to what we saw from Mihai. Jiva says, how do they already have 1 minute idle eco? Well, just probably a couple villagers here or there that went out that stood there after a house. You don't realize how quickly that number goes up if you have a villager sit there, so. I don't know what the standard time is. I think maybe Vinchester makes sense because he's been walling more. So there's more instances where the wall villagers stop randomly. So it's kind of to be expected. It's 1 minute with every single villager's added up. So that was like an extra 20 seconds just after he built the range. I find this wall pretty good for Vinchester. And this might add a little bit of confusion for Heartt on what to do. This is not something Heartt played up against in practice games, I'm sure. Heartt probably just was happy to go feudal age, open archers and open scouts. But full wall, drush, fast castle potentially is not something he's used to. Back in the day when this was more of a meta, you would see players immediately come forward and tower to try and pressure here. But we're talking like... that was more 2018, I think. Early 2019 was the last time that was the case. Since then, there's been balance changes to the price of walling, how quickly walls come up, so it's more difficult to do what Vinchester's doing. And also the armor on walls as well. There's been a lot of anti-walling measures since DE came out. But Heartt will still have a pretty clean eco. Slowly working his way up to killing off the militia here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to gain energy or lose energy if Vinchester starts to claw this back. What do you guys think? Oh, man. I mean, it's got to be relatively awkward for the players as well, because the previous series was so competitive. They probably were waiting. They thought they were going to play 2 hours before they did. Like I said, I think in both cases with where they're at, I think Vinchester's apparently in Mexico at the moment. Heartt is in Peru. So I think time zone wise, this is still more than fine for them. It's not like it's past midnight or anything, but yeah, Vinchester's going to be up. I mean, if the scoreline wasn't 3-0, I'd be saying that I'm not really sure what Heartt could do here, and Heartt's looking a little clueless, but I think Heartt is far from clueless here. He recognizes he needs to make it to Castle Age as quickly as he can, and that he really wasn't going to be able to apply any pressure here. Sorry, guys. Need to hydrate up. I mean, LED Floyd, not playing from home is always a disadvantage, but from what I understand, Vinchester's just kind of been all over the place the last year or two. And he played incredible at the recent LAN event. He played incredible in Wandering Warriors Cup. He was, what, 3rd place there? And 3-0'd Heartt. So I definitely agree that, like, adapting to a different area is kind of tricky. But if you get used to doing that, if that's something you just have done for a while, I think it's fine. It probably just takes a couple days to get the feel of a new area, right? If you're bringing your keyboard with you, you're bringing your PC with you, it's all the same after a while. What would really trip me out is if I had to use someone else's equipment. If I was using someone else's keyboard and mouse and monitor, that would be brutal. Even like a chair change would be tough. So Vinch is up. Vinch is making eagles. And Heartt is just kind of battering on walls. By the time he could potentially break through, his opponent will have enough eagles to clear up all of his archers here. It seems tough. At the very least, Vinch is going to be in Castle Age. This is textbook, by the way. This reminds me of the old days. Like, this is super smooth. We didn't see fast castle eagles back then because most of the time this was meta. You couldn't actually make eagles in castle. Or, sorry, in feudal. So it was mainly fast castle crossbow, but beautiful play from Vinch. Good patience from him. There's no way Heartt ever breaks through here. And now Vinchester's in Castle Age, and these eagles are dangerous for Heartt. And so any other civ, and you probably can make some knights here, but now the fact you can't make knights really makes it awkward. Another thing that people are making against this is they're going cav archers. But you can't make cav archers, you have to make elephant archers. This is going to be tough. Heartt will wall up. I think if Heartt were to lose this game, it's fine. But if Heartt loses another game, that's where the nerves start to come in. This you could chalk up to a civ matchup. You can cope with that a little bit. But I think the, oh no, am I getting reverse swept? All the thoughts start to creep in. Some players are able to simplify their mind a little bit more, but I know Heartt, and from what he's described, he's very similar to what I say when I'm casting, where he's like, I don't know if you heard his NAC interview, but he was like, oh, I don't even know what a Buchholz is. Like, I'm losing because of Buchholz. You know, he's thinking about that in the game. So I actually really appreciated how real Heartt was there with the interviews, adding that perspective, because I think people don't like to dive deep into, like, the nerves a lot. Or at least expand on that. They'd like to be seen as someone who could never be nervous, you know? There's 45,000 gold on this map to answer your question in chat. And Aztecs can do a lot with that. Crossbow upgrade is in for Heartt, and Heartt drops the second TC. He's made it to Castle Age. The Eagles don't have... they're not Eagles Warrior yet. They're just still Eagles Scouts. So Vinchester went for a little bit of greed at first with his own second TC. Will need to get his upgrades. Does need to get this relic back. And I'd say the third town center is likely to come up in the south for Vinch. I would think that would be the same for Heartt as well, if he had it his way, because he's much closer to this than he is the north. Dude, it would be just like Vinchester's day to leave a hole wide open for the opponent to come through. He deleted this so he could leave his base, and he never rewalled it. And what's worse is, it's also open over here. So Hearttt could actually escape the other direction. Vinch needs to kill this. Maybe this is all part of his plan. Loses the Vil. Saves the Monk. And he will escape right now. And his Eagles will come home. 13 Eagles against 19 crossbows. Could be relatively close, but there's only 11 crossbows here. Just Vinchester hasn't been all there. Dude, you can't let this army escape. To place the houses here. The Eagles are coming home. The Eagles should be here soon. Another villager died. Another villager died for Vinch. I think the ones on the houses could have maybe been saved, and it's been really clean from Hearttt behind. The thing that hasn't been so clean from Hearttt is the idle TC. So that aspect hasn't been great. And Vinch will clear this. Units get trapped in. Vinchester will be on TC number 3. On the Golden Stone. It's a perfect town center. 1 relic with the Aztecs. Potentially 2 relics with the Aztecs. And I could definitely view that as a little bit sloppy from Vinchester. But he's got the Vil lead. He's got the position he might want if he can keep it. If he can get +2 armor and an eco to spam Eagles, Hearttt is going to need a castle. And Hearttt will actually go to the north now. That's a good decision from Hearttt. But does he have scouting up there? Okay, sees the gold. He might want the stone, but it's tough because you want both. Vinch's TC is perfect. You don't always get that. Also, Vinch scouted this whole area, saw this was the closest gold, and is sitting there with an eagle. And is also looking down here. So he knows the 3rd TC timing is normally happening around now. And old Vinch thought he could rewall this. He thought 3 houses there and the crossbows could never come through. And oh, it's just 1 eagle. Sorry. It's been a long day. I got real excited because I thought it was the other group of eagles that was in the south. But again, like, from my perspective, Vinchester in tip-top shape. These crossbows just don't get in. So good from Hearttt to find the value. But it's like every time Vinchester's just about to have a good thing going, something annoying happens. Something frustrating. Something that he would have loved to avoid it takes place. Yeah, chakrams are a sick option here. The other thing about chakrams is they're not really that weak against skirms. Because chakrams are an infantry unit. So skirms don't do crazy bonus damage. So the only thing Aztecs would really have against chakrams, and the mining camp needs to be deleted there, but I think it would probably be like onagers. Yeah, skirms aren't mobile, but chakrams kind of are. Chakrams can't be in every place at once, though. Man, Heartt's micro has been so good here. So many people would have just left this army for dead, and he actually ends up winning the fight. Crazy stuff from Hearttt. He's just buying himself time. I can't check right now, but Vinchester's produced 30 eagles maybe, and he's just losing these groups to the crossbows. Another eagle goes down. Just annoyance after annoyance here for Vinch. And Hearttt just continues to pump out crossbows. More crossbows on the way. 2 more villagers go down for Vinchester. Thing is, I think Vinchester can easily get +2. There's the armor. I'm not certain if he's in an economic state, though, to spam eagles and spam vills right now. He's around there. Hearttt is okay with losing these crossbows. He just wants to keep Vinchester deeper in Castle Age for as long as possible. What you don't want is a situation where you get hit with elite eagles before you're ready with a castle. The longer Castle Age is, the better here, so you can mass those chakrams. Hearttt, I think, out of gold, or almost out of gold, so he'll head to the middle, where I think he'll drop a castle here in a second. Let's see what Vinch can do. The crossbows are here, no ballistics. Vinch has to put a stop to this. This has just been a never-ending cycle of raids from crossbows. He's got 3 relics with the Aztecs. He's just missing the tiny little details here today. But he has +2 armor now. He might have the crossbows trapped. I don't know if that's enough. I think Hearttt can get to the edge of the map here. I think if Hearttt wedges himself into that corner without any siege, Hearttt can still win that fight, especially if you stack the crossbows. Maybe I'm wrong. Vinchester still has more eagles back here to bring over. Yeah, it's just not happening, guys. Like, we all get it because we are nothing compared to these guys. But just like random units not being a part of your group, you think you're going to win a fight when you don't. Like that lumber camp. What is that freaking lumber camp, bro? Vinch is he's just not all there right now. As if we needed another example of it. Lumber camp right next to the crossbows that he's not killing. He will kill the crossbows in the middle. The funny thing is, he could still win the game. Because 3 relics with Aztecs and his boom is insane. But it's just the fights. Been so much better for Hearttt here. There was someone in chat who said this would be a 4-0. I said there was no way. Especially the last time these two played, it ended up being 3-0 for Vinchester. That would be interesting if we had 2 players who arguably top 10 kind of go back and forth in sweeping each other. It's rare that that's the narrative, but could potentially be building here. Eagles moving in. Hearttt doesn't have his castle on the way yet. So at this point, I think crossbows are not a great option for him. And he'll lose villagers for the first time building this castle. Should probably go up. But for the first time in a long time, it's Vinchester applying pressure and Hearttt is not. Now Vinchester will know that chakrams could be coming forward. Outposts in the south from Vinch. All the strategic stuff, like the strategy, the boom, the placement, all that stuff's been good for Vinch. It's just strictly just been... His micro hasn't really been all there. His fights haven't been great. And maybe I'm not giving Hearttt enough credit because Heartt's micro is some of the best in the game. But it's going to be tough to keep up with things now that he's not the one applying pressure. Vinchester... 4 TCs, 4 relics now. There's only 1 more relic on the map, and that's over here. And Heartt's unit costs food. So you have to make the chakrams. You have to make a lot of chakrams, and that will delay your imp time. I think Vinchester's just going to spam eagles nonstop until the chakram number... And avoid the chakrams. Eventually, we'll hope that when he has to face the music with the chakrams, he can make another unit. Spamming units everywhere right now. There are the Frisbees. The Frisbees aren't doing enough right now to get home, to stop the raids. Look at the idle time for Hearttt. Vinchester is back, baby. Vinchester is back. Never in my chat is the one who predicted 4-0. I can tell he's sweating right now. You said... Hold on. I think if I were to say this, it would be unfair. So let me verify with my Twitch chat. Twitch chat. Never promised 25 gifted subs if he was wrong, right? I'm correct in that I saw that. I'm pretty sure he said that. But we'll make sure chat agrees. Because if that's not the case, we don't want to hold him to that. Okay, he said that. That's true. Okay. Okay, that's... Alright, true story. Good. Good to know. Vinchester hasn't won the game yet. And he only killed 7 vills. And Hearttt now has 2 castles to produce the chakrams, and he has ballistics, which should help out in killing off these eagles. Wait. Now people are making jokes that I have to give subs if I'm wrong. I take it back. That's a lot of chakrams. I take it back. It was a joke. We didn't make a bet. Oh, no. So, 2 castles for Hearttt. Enough stone to build a 3rd castle soon. And at least when they're elite, infantry has no chance. I think if Hearttt can group his units up together, get his castles up, keep his castles up, he should be in a good position. But Vinchester wants to treb down castles in the north. He's placed his castle solely for trebuchets. And Hearttt needs to delete his... because this could be denied. And oh my god, Hearttt thinks he can still do this? Hearttt, you're crazy, man. But he knew the Eagles were coming through. He blocks it off with some walls. There's now another castle from Vinchester. Hearttt needs to do something about that. And so I guess Heartt's will go up. But Vinch's castle will probably go up. And still random Eagles over here from Vinchester being annoying and raiding away. What a messy game. I mean, they're both on the way to Imp. Hearttt will have 3 castles. Hearttt might not have gold, though. No way, dude. This is Heartt's gold income. All right, I take back taking it back. We definitely made a bet on gifted subs. This is really tough for Hearttt. He only has 8 chakrams. There's 30 Eagles. There's no easy way for Hearttt to approach the Trebs. Vinchester's got 4 relics with Aztecs. He's got all the stone and gold down here. He also has vision, so if Hearttt ever comes this direction, he will be spotted. Hearttt can't even afford Trebs. How is Hearttt supposed to be able to afford chakrams? He's got 0 on gold. This is crazy. Also, how does Vinch lose so many Eagles and still have like 30 of them? It's crazy what his production looks like right now. It's not like the Eagles have been taking the best of engagements. It still feels like the chakrams and Castle Age are not doing as much as I would have thought. I think the elite upgrade is a pretty big jump. They also have really low base attack, so it's base attack of 3. Look at them. Look at them walk with their discs. They're in no rush. As their people are dying, they are in no rush to go help. But yeah, I think adding that +2 attack with Iron Casting could help a lot. And Vinchester, as he raids the south, will focus on the north. Trebs should be on the way soon. Hearttt can make his first 2 Trebs, but he needs to put his Trebs into this walled area, which isn't fully walled yet. But otherwise, there's no way he could protect his trebuchets. Vinchester heads over to take the relic, and that will be denied. But he's just got Eagles everywhere, dude. It's the flood. Hearttt can't keep up with this. Heartt's score is extremely high right now. If he can take the north, I still think the chakrams can do it. Vinchester's now getting elite Eagle. Hearttt up to 14 chakrams. Hearttt gets the walls down just in time. Those Eagles can't make it through. But the Eagles could break through the houses pretty quickly. And here the chakrams have been sniped. The Treb's exposed on the right side. Elite Eagles could head there. The Treb on the left side is protected. Hearttt walls it. He needs to wall the other side as well. But the castle fire is helping a lot here. And now Elite Eagle's in. El Dorado's on the way. Hearttt takes out 1 castle from Vinchester. But the castle on the left for Vinch will stay up. And Heartt's will go down. And he's getting elite chakrams with 9 chakrams on the field. Against 60 Eagles. I don't know, man. Vinchester can lose these 40 Eagles and still probably win this game with these resources. Hearttt has no gold. Any gold income he does have is right here on your screen. El Dorado's in. Not El Dorado, sorry. I said El Dorado. I meant to say Garland Wars. Garland Wars is in, so the extra attack is in. And Vinchester gets a win on the board. We do not have the sweep. Hearttt, he played well. I think he played really well, but I do actually think this is a very good Civ matchup for the Aztecs. And despite Vinchester being a little sloppy in the mid game, his strategic play was amazing. His macro was amazing. It's just, you know, when someone's lost 3 games, you begin to highlight their struggles a little bit more. Again, I think Art will look at that and say, well, that's fine. Whatever. I'm up 3 games. I just need 1 win. The pressure's pretty much off. But I think the pressure will start to seep if Vinchester gets a win in the next game. And maybe Vinchester just wasn't warmed up yet. It looked pretty damn strong in mid-Castle Age the second he cleared up those crossbows from Hearttt. So we'll see. And let's see who's the final player to join the other 7 who have already qualified, or at least 4 were invited. And 3 others qualified today. Let me recap on that real quick, because some people are asking questions of where certain players are. Here's Vinchester in the north. Oh, God, now Barbaros is gifting 26 more. He says, F you, Wololo. Thank you. Holy. But, yeah, Hera and Viper were invited to the main event of the Garrison based on previous performances and other events. Leary and ACCM were also invited based on their performances in NAC and also Wandering Warriors Cup 2. And then we've had 3 other players qualify, excuse me. Vinchester seals these sheep. The first one today was Tato, who won, I believe, 4-1 over freaking Andy. The second one, I'm somehow forgetting because I'm so tired. Come on. What was the second series? What is wrong with me? Oh, Yo MBL. I forget that one. Sorry. Well, MBL and Yo had a crazy series, but Yo ended up qualifying. Then we had the best series of the day, at least so far. It was Kingston versus Mihai, where Kingston ended up winning in a 7-game banger. And then this will determine the final spot. Only 8 players will be there. And the main event, I will be casting from Hamburg. If you guys want to buy tickets, potentially meet me there, you could use the Garrison command to check it out. It's hosted by Being Esports, who is new to Age of Empires 2, and they're going to host a pretty kick-ass event there at an awesome venue. The way the tournament will be broadcasted as well is a bit different than other events. So it will be broadcasted fully on my channel and other channels. And I have some plans as well. There's ways that I can be, like, let's say I'm not casting a set. I can actually come on stream and do like a co-stream type thing where I maybe talk to you guys and interact a little bit aside from the main cast. I don't know if I do that. I think if my channel's casting the main event from the LAN, I might just want it to be solely on the broadcast, even if I'm not casting. But anyways, check it out. And when the event comes up mid-March, it should be really cool. All right. Wololo gifted even more subs. So we have ourselves in an interesting situation because Barbar Tacos has gifted 46 subs. Wololo has gifted 51 subs. And then earlier today, EP gifted 50 subs. So we may have ourselves in the middle of a good old-fashioned sub battle here. A little bit of flexing going on. And people who don't have emotes in chat right now are very happy to be in the middle of this sub-gifting battle. Thank you, guys. You don't need to flex. It's more than enough. Please don't feel baited into flexing and gifting more. Thank you, guys. Portuguese for Hearttt. He'll open with Scouts. And Tatars for Vinchester. He will also open with Scouts. And Big Bomber has now gifted 5 subs. Yo, what's up, Big Bomber? Also, Zoom Out Idiot. There's your Zoom Out. Thank you for the 5 months. Thank you, Eritlux, for the new Prime. Welcome. Good stuff here, guys. I'm having fun. I also am disgusting. I have been sitting in this chair for 10 hours. And it's just... I need a shower. It's been a long day. No breaks, really. I mean, any break, I've had to, like, run to the refrigerator to try and get something before the next game starts. It's been a long day. Archer opening from Hearttt, actually. Okay. And then Scout opening here from Vinch. Vinch stole 2 extra sheep, which as Tatars will really benefit him here. Speaking of momentum, I think Hearttt losing Arabia would really hurt him because he is probably top 5 Arabia in my opinion. At least in terms of ladder activity. Like, Hearttt is really one of the best players playing on Arabia at almost all times. And Archer opening here for Hearttt. And it will be Scouts and then immediate Skirm follow-up. A lot of civs can't justify this, but because you don't need those farms as the Tatars, you can get that Archer range up fast. You can get those Skirms out by the time this all arrives and still have a few Scouts on the field. Mr. Yurbod says, can you make a video someday on the strategic aspect related to Civ and map picking, reasoning behind it, and impact on the matchup? Recently, I've done some deep dives on tournament sets, mainly with Phosphor, and I talked a little bit more about the draft as a whole, and the feedback has been really good on that. So my idea is to find a really, like, deeply strategic civ or like series and maybe do a breakdown after the fact at some point. So it's definitely an idea that I've considered and will do. But unfortunately, with many ideas, I just don't have the time. November and December were absolutely insane for me. And I will be casting every single game from Titans League Platinum, which starts in 2 weeks. I'll be casting as much gold as possible, and Titans League will be going up till mid-March. Or sorry, early March. So that'll be tough. Nice defense there from Vinchester, sorry. But it's gotten a little sloppy here. I think Hearttt will be okay with how this has gone, considering. It could have been a lot worse based on Vinchester's opening. Vinchester could have a few more scouts floating around, and Vinchester struggled to keep his scouts alive. So Hearttt, since he snagged fletching, was able to find a bit of extra value. And that's good for him because he didn't really have the eco to immediately go into scouts, but that's his plan now. But now that he doesn't have scouts on the field, the skirm should be a problem for him. And Vinchester's eco looking pretty smooth behind. He'll add in those farms now. And Vinch would love to get kills on these archers. He's trying to get as close as possible with his skirms because he doesn't have fletching yet. There's some weak archers in there. Oh my god, did you see that micro from... Oh my goodness. That was sick. What? Okay, Hearttt loses 1 archer, but he should have lost 3 already. He had 2 movements there, which he just microed at the last second and avoided those skirms. That was really good. And now he's 1 scout away from pushing back these skirms. Neither player setting up for a big, greedy Castle Age play. It feels like it's going to be heavy Feudal Age army. Vinchester on Scout Skirm. Hearttt on Scout Archer. But the way Hearttt has fought this game so far, those early micro engagements, it's just not normal. Like, he's been able to get away with so much with the early archers. So many people would have lost all their archers already. But to kill off the amount of scouts that he did, so he doesn't have to have much defense, was insane. A really impressive confidence as well to immediately move forward. But that's the difference he can get out of having that fletching upgrade. Vinchester will have fletching now. And Vinchester knew the scout opening would be here. He just double-checked that, saw the scout, saw the stable. And he just sniped an archer as well. This is a close Arabia game, guys. This is a really close Arabia game. I think the food count's a little bit deceiving at the moment. You might look at this and think Vinchester will go to Castle Age faster, but he only has 9 farms. Hearttt has 12 farms. Hearttt also spent some of his resources on the scouts. But with that gold, we might see a relatively rare move from Hearttt where he actually sells his stone to click up. I say rare because more recently with the patch, it's more expensive to buy food, so you don't see players like Hearttt opting for that as much. But this is tournament AoE. The gold is right there. There's a lot more pressure involved. And he'll want to push the timings here if he can. The scouts come in here from Vinchester. And Vinchester might do the same. No market for him just yet. He's going for the more patient approach here, but he is not able to move out. I think the fact that Vinch has invested into this many skirms, and he's not able to really freely move out to kill the archers is a little painful for him right now. JK Jace, what's up? Says, is this still going? I went to sleep 9 hours ago. Yeah, dude. Very rarely do people fall asleep to the stream and then wake up and have the stream still going, but it's been a long day. Good morning, sunshine. Did you dream about me? Can you imagine if you had like an Age of Empires dream because you could hear me talking about scouts and archers and whatnot? Castle Age times are pretty much the same. The main difference here is the fact that Hearttt has used the market and sold his stone. Vinchester's looking pretty vulnerable on the front. He's mixed in a few archers. He loses his scout. But he'll want to combine crossbow with elite skirm. That's his plan. With the amount of archers that he has right now, he might be able to move out against the scouts. And this is such important timing because before, the skirms couldn't chase down the archers, but now there's a chance. Hearttt is going to sneak to the side here, though. The wood can be hit. Both lumber camps. It's not like he has another lumber camp set up. And the gold can be hit by that army. And Hearttt just tracking this army, hoping to pull this out of position. Did he show himself there? I don't think Vinchester's reacted at all like he saw that. But if he did notice that, he might want to head over there. I don't want Hearttt to send his scouts back over to that corner. You don't want to alert your opponent to the fact you're over there. I think Vinchester knows something's up right now. He might just be thinking about it logically, and he's like, wait a second. Where am I vulnerable? Where would he hit? I know he has archers. And he's checking this out now. Hearttt also knows that Vinch is looking for him. This is so crazy. Vinchester still hasn't seen anything, so he still hasn't confirmed his suspicions. He maybe just caught a glimpse. But guys, even this moment, forcing Hearttt back like this is good because Hearttt isn't directly on top of him when he gets the upgrades. So Hearttt had to wait a little bit longer, work a little bit harder to get value. And now Elite Skirm's on the way for Vinch. He also has his own crossbows. And he can drop those town centers, unlike Hearttt. The gold units are cheaper for Hearttt. So it should be really easy for him to mass a lot of units. But he's going 1 range ballistics. It's not going 2 range, which is a little uncommon. When you've sold your stone and you've got this eco, normally you're on 2 range. Or you're going... You might be mixing in some knights at the same time. Alright, so ballistics will be in a moment. I'm sure Vinchester's expecting this. There's also a crossbow army this way. There's also a crossbow army from Vinch to pay attention to. Vinch isn't fully armored yet. So with good micro, Hearttt can kill off this number of skirms. The crossbow's there. Force a reaction from Vinch. Vinchester hasn't killed a single crossbow yet. This is what Hearttt can do. Again, just good value. Fully armored skirms, still happily fighting them off. Ballistics now in for Vinch. Or sorry, on the way in. Did Hearttt see those crossbows, though? He hasn't seen them in a while, has he? He sees them now, and he loses 3 vills. And he doesn't really have much of an army to deal with this right now, except his own crossbows. Crossbows over here will try and break in for Hearttt. And now crossbows here will aim to kill some villagers from Vinch, but he's firing uphill. Vinch could pull away for a second, and Vinch will now have ballistics, so Vinch could maybe find these crossbows. Vinch has to micro. Here, he also has to defend against this. There's a lot happening right now, and you could tell Vinchester didn't notice. He gets hit. He still is chasing this down, still is dealing with this as well. There's 3 different things happening right now. Oh, and by the way, they've always had villagers in queue. 20 seconds of TC idle time for both of them. These 2 are insane. Eco upgrades look good. Micro looks great from Vinchester. He kills those crossbows. Guys, is this where Vinchester starts to bring it back? He snipes the repair villager. My Minnesota Vikings play in 1 hour and 20 minutes. I'm not even sure if I want to watch that game because I'm going to be so on edge. So maybe this is good if this goes to the 7th game, but what a day. Vinchester's got tons of control and momentum now, and is absolutely in the lead in this game now. Res collected super close. Heartt's 1 or 2 mangonel shots away from turning things around. But beautiful play from Vinchester. On the hill with Thumbring. You shouldn't have to dance as much if you have Thumbring. Puts pressure on Hearttt to have to do so. And now a couple knights will be created from Vinch. He knows those mangonels don't have as much protection now. And they can't be advancing across the map. Hearttt is distracted. His mangonel is in an awkward position. He has another one on the way, though. Look at Vinch get close to this thing. It's insane micro from Vinchester to have the confidence to get close to a mangonel like that. It's maybe... it's maybe a little too much confidence. But if I were Vinchester, I'd be doing the same thing. He's waiting for the knights now, and if the crossbows aren't there, the mangonels are probably doomed, but nice repairs there. I really think Hearttt needs a second range. Look how much wood and gold he has. He could be on 3 ranges and 2 TCs and probably be in a really nice spot. But the knights are here. The knights are here. The mangonel will go down. Hearttt had such good control over the series. He's falling apart now. There's crossbows on this side of the wood line, and Vinchester is staying alive, guys. Vinchester is staying alive. 2 TCs. This is the Vinchester that people were hyped to see today. Killed 9 oh man, nice shot there. To kill 9 villagers from Hearttt when Hearttt was in such a nice position early Castle Age is crazy. And this is not a position that Hearttt is in too frequently. Falling back, very low army numbers, and just playing with defensive siege. Not a position you'll see him in on Arabia, because there's not many players that can get him into this position. I just wonder, like, that first game, every time you see me cast a best of 5 or best of 7, there's always one game where I feel like one player let it slip away, right? I always talk about this. You're probably used to it, but still. That first freaking game, the lack of a dock block, if things go slightly differently there, and now we're in this game, I mean, hopefully for Vinchester, he's not regretting game number 1, but I was thinking it wouldn't even be something Vinch would think about, or we would even have to talk about. But I think that might be something we discuss because we actually have a series here. Oh, Heartt's advancing forward. Now, he has crossbows to protect his siege. There's a random knight here? What? That random knight arrives to be there in a good moment to potentially help defend against the siege. But now Hearttt is through. Heartt's like, I want to finish this thing. This isn't over. His mangonel, though, is in a rough position. Vinchester probably won't be able to take that, though. He's losing his units here. He's being attacked over here. He took out one mangonel with his armory, though. And he splits away from this one. He's on the hill, guys. And he says, siege doesn't counter me. What in the world was that? He also took out the scorpion, by the way. What in the world was that? A crossbow army hits his gold. Scorpion hits his ranged units over here. And he micros down 2 forward mangonels. And sorts out his eco for the time being as well. That was just amazing. I think this is going to reach a point, though, where Vinch has such a good food eco, he doesn't need to play crossbow anymore. And he could almost just go skirm knight, like. Or maybe he could make a switch to cav archers, which could be great long-term. We might even see Keshiks. He's pretty heavy on stone right now. The castle in the middle of this map feels pretty valuable with all the hills. Vinch showing he's human, making a mistake. Hearttt will be spotted here, and Vinch will know that army's over on that side now. Hearttt hanging in this game. He's 20 vills behind, but he's Portuguese after all. And he gets a decent hit. Ooh, and that was a sick attack round from Vinchester, but it wasn't enough. Now he's on the hill. The other mangonel's weak. He knows that. He needs to take the repair vills. Hearttt with the big attack round. Big moment for Hearttt. And now a counter attack from Hearttt, which could pan out. And again, Hearttt stays in this. 3 TCs for him, forcing Vinchester off of gold. The hills are so valuable here. Neither player will want to leave their hill. Oh man, what was that shot? Oh god. Hearttt with some crazy good engagements. And now Vinchester could be in trouble. This is getting out of hand now. The defensive castle from Vinch was not what he wanted, but you kind of have to do it. And Heartt's eco's looking pretty good. I mean, he's had better economies, but Portuguese gold units are really cheap. He's gotten some nice control over the game. Vinch has had control over this entire game, so he's made a lot of it look easy. Now Hearttt can pick the spots. I'd like to see Hearttt maybe focus pushing this left side, because you could still push the TC. You could still take a hill there. The worry now for Hearttt is if Keshiks come out, he needs protection for his siege. And Vinchester is just returning the favor. Vinchester's micro 1v4 here. No way, dude. Okay, well, 1 for 3 is still pretty damn good. Yeah, Vinch will get +2 armor. They start to make those Keshiks there, and with that, maybe a little less worry for Vinchester. Still also a crossbow army that could maybe find some value. I think Hearttt noticed that, though. I don't know if Hearttt noticed it or if the Scorpion noticed it. If Hearttt noticed it, it'll keep moving that way. I think that was a manual click. That's crazy awareness. Yeah, that's just... He definitely knows. Yep, he does. Yeah, he noticed that. That's not the Scorpion. Which could maybe follow if it saw a glimpse of the crossbows. I don't know if Hearttt has enough here. If he had monks here, it would be different. A Vinch kills the Scorpion naturally because it's Vinchester. But there's no monks here, guys. And the Mangonel hops out. It hits one of the Mangonels. Vinch micros the rest. And then the Mangonel will actually survive. Well, maybe. It doesn't survive. But he could make more possibly to deal with the crossbows. There's instances where you run away from monks. But I think with how that engagement just went, you just continue to dive in with your Vinchester. If you have +2 armor, the monk's numbers isn't high yet. You could snipe the monk, so that monk will never lead to another conversion for Hearttt. The crossbows get a few more kills on this side. The snowball is starting. And Vinchester wants a forward castle, which might be a little early. He still hasn't killed all of this just yet. But he doesn't really seem to care. Vinchester, maybe place it a castle where you just won this fight. And even then, I'm not... Ooh, even then, I'm not so sure. Okay, he'll sit here and he'll dance. And he'll hope to outbuild. And then the second the crossbows attack a build, he dives. Hearttt will hope and pray that he can deny this castle. His own castle will go up. But he's hoping that this castle leads to dead vills for Vinch and never completes. I don't think he's able to stop it. It's a 90%. It's a 95%. There's enough vills. And now Vinchester goes up to Imp. And Hearttt is going to have a miserable time taking any resources around this castle and expanding his eco. Guys, I have no food in my house. I need to order dinner. I'm not going to have time. I need food. What am I eating, chat? Should we do it? Should chat vote? And don't say Age of Empires. I've already had enough of that today. Pizza? This may be too adult of me, but I actually don't want to just down a pizza after I've sat at my PC the entire day. I want something that's not too unhealthy. I'd like something that's like kind of convince myself, like have a little bit more protein, you know? I don't want to go all the way to a salad. That's a little too crazy. I would be shocked if Vinchester loses this game from here. He'll lose this castle, but he's up to Imp. And he still has so much control. The Keshiks are going to dive here. And I really should wait until we're in between games. Pretty unprofessional of me to start talking about food, but I was thinking of it because Vinchester is eating Hearttt for lunch and dinner right now. Hearttt is totally dead. And Hearttt calls the GG. And now you're shaking. Now Hearttt is worried. Now Heartt's like, oh my goodness, am I actually going to throw this? And to make matters even crazier, I got to remind you of the draft. All of Heartt's top picks are gone. Now, I think it's the same for Vinchester, but it's not as if Hearttt can look at his draft and say, oh, at least I still have that to wait for. Well played from Vinchester. It's super well played. He's on now. His coffee kicked in. He's fully awake after his nap, whatever. It can be really tough. Sometimes you just aren't there on a day. That happens, and that's what I thought it was for Vinchester, but apparently not. Now, do I schedule this to be delivered in an hour, assuming this will go to Game 5? Sorry, game 7? That seems like a mistake. I think the second I do that, this is a very fast game, and then I'm just sitting there hungry. Probably not. Worst case, it'll just sit outside my front door. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's not like there's ants outside or anything. Khmer Huns is not fully what I was expecting here, by the way. I think this will be primarily a land approach. I don't think either player is going to play too heavily on the water, at least initially. I was being sarcastic. There's ants everywhere, but I'm willing to get my food eaten by ants, so the stream is top tier content for you guys, okay? So that's all I meant by that. Many people, if you would have asked them 2 days ago, they would have said Hearttt is in their top 8 right now. And others would have said that Vinchester's in their top 8. Unfortunately, only one can move into the top 8 and into the Garrison main event. This is a big one. And, I mean, this could be absolutely earth-shattering to Heartt's confidence. He's still got 2 games in the bank. See, I think, like, 2 years ago, I'm really concerned Hearttt lets this slip and he gets reverse swept. But Hearttt has experienced so much the last 12 months, 18 months. Like, he went through this progression of making a land and not really feeling like he fit in. He was just, he didn't get to his best play. Then he made more lands and he went top 4. Then it's like he makes it and he's there and he's won it. It's like expected of him now. I really think Hearttt can do this. Now, I also really need to order my freaking food. Let me decide. Okay, we've got our options locked and loaded, people. We've got our options locked and loaded. Okay, that'll work. Be a role model, balance. God, I can't speak. T90, be a role model and balance your life and get food. You want me to balance my life? I'll be a role model. See you guys. Thanks for watching. I've been live for 10 hours. I'm just trying to be an adult here. This is way too much. I'm probably just going to head off. See ya. No, I'm not here to be a role model. My way of being a role model is telling you guys to not be me. All right? Don't do what I do. That's the way I somehow spark some change. It's actually really funny. I had to tell my 8-year-old nephew not to try and follow my... Like, my nephew's 8 years old, and I talk about video games for a living. So he looks at me like I'm this absolute god who never makes mistakes, and I must be some type of genius. So I have to consistently remind him that your uncle's an idiot who got very lucky. Don't try and be like your uncle. It isn't working too well. He's, like, really cute and is absolutely obsessed with me, and I love the kid to death. Vinchester, if you get this quick wall down, life is not fair. What? What? How? Hearttt knew that was gonna happen. Hearttt had a hill, bro. Again, I'd start to get a little bit tilty right now if I'm Hearttt. I'm just like, what? Are you kidding me? That was sick from Vinchester. That was so good. It's one thing to get the quick wall on after the very first hit, but when your opponent knows you're going to go for that, they could usually block it off, and it looked like Hearttt had blocked it perfectly. This is going to be a long one. And Scout Fight, they're both 2-hit, so that could go either way. As it's going to be Scout Play from Vinchester behind full walls, and it will be Scout Play as well from Hearttt, and he will game for the full walls. You just have to put it in the right way. Your uncle invested years of his free time besides a real job till he could afford to live from that. I mean, I don't actually tell my uncle, I don't actually tell my nephew that I'm an idiot, but I try and be, you know, when kids are like, oh my God, you have my dream job. I want to be like you. I always give a realistic approach of like, I did it for fun because I really enjoyed it. That's how you should view it. And in the event that you get lucky and it becomes any source of income, then go with it. But where I am is a combination of lots of hard work, lots of passion, and then being completely reckless and very lucky. Maybe a couple other factors in there, but you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I had a vision that this was actually possible at the start. This is crazy, dude. This is crazy. And I'm having fun despite being completely dehydrated and exhausted right now. Heartt attacks the wall. He probably won't break through that palisade wall, but nice little scout control. We actually have had 0 scouts created from Vinchester. So he made the stable, but hasn't really done too much. And the main thing that I'm noticing now when you look at these walls is how nice the back area of the base is. Heartt's got all of his golds and stones outside. I guess there is that stone inside. But Vinchester could... Like, maybe he just plays light cav, and you just try and keep Heartt off these resources, and boom. This should be a harder game for Heartt to play if it's a boom game. He also has lots of hills out here. It's very flat in the back. Pavian says, this is the stuff your nephew should actually approach, work hard and be passionate. Yeah, I agree, but he's 8, so he's just kind of like... He's at the age where he doesn't think that deeply about things, you know? The thing that I try and instill in my nephew, which I think is really important because I felt like it was a struggle for me growing up, is that it's okay to lose. Because I was very competitive and I didn't do well with losing. And I felt like if I lost, my life was over. Like I lost a kickball game and I was just like, oh my God, I have no future. And that's an extreme example of it. But I think like it becomes super easy to just not try things if you think you're not going to be good at it. And then when you get older, you realize, well, you're never going to get good at anything if you don't try it. And you have to try things in life. You have to, like, you are a sum of your experiences, as I like to say. So he gets kind of babied by his grandparents, who are my parents. Because if he loses and gets upset, they're just kind of like... Oh, he's upset, right? Which I tell them is really bad. And then Uncle T90 is like, yeah, you lost. Get over it, dude. Let's play again. And so you could tell it kind of shocks him. He's like, whoa, he told me to get over it. That was kind of mean. But also, he said, let's play again like it's no big deal. And then he plays again. And then he's like, oh, this is fun. And so I try and be, he's a little coddled. So I try and be a teensy bit direct in that way, you know? Also, everyone in my family is old, so now I'm relegated to, like, being the roughhouser. And then I just am sore the next day because I'm 31 now, so. Oh, yeah, true. There are houses here. You start with 2 houses in this because of the 9 villagers start. But yeah, Huns can't build those houses. 3 ranges from Vinchester behind this. 3 ranges. And Heartt is just attacking walls. Heartt will go for the light cav approach. And Heartt will boom. Remember, though, that Heartt doesn't have a lot of gold within his walls. He just has that 2,000 gold. And then there's also this gold you have to remember is here. Which is pretty important. That's kind of the whole map design. Vinchester's just been hanging out, waiting till he has the cav archers. Can Heartt see the ranges here? He cannot, but now he can, actually, when he makes it to Castle Age. So he should know this is Cav Archers. This is intentional from Heartt to protect the other side of that wood line from Cav Archers. That's actually a very good TC. A lot of people place that safe inside the walls and then get ranged. And that's a good TC as well. And Commerce should be in a decent enough position to be able to combat this. It should be able to go... for Scorpions. Look what Vinch just did. Vinch actually canceled Bodkin Arrow because he doesn't feel like he needs it for what the situation is right now. Vinchester's repairs are still working fine here. And here he'll attack the light cav. Yeah, he knows that Bodkin isn't really necessary in this current situation. And these are just cav archers for map control. Well, now he's getting Bodkin Arrow, so never mind. But Bodkin Arrow is helpful when you can actually range villagers and kill villagers. And that's going to be tough. Heartt house walling back here. Heartt is also house walled here. And now the Siege Workshop, so we can have a couple Scorpions. This is good. So, I honestly... I think I would have preferred Vinchester go for the light cav and adapt, solely because he'd be faster to the TCs, and he has a great base for it. And even though the cav archers are cheap, you're still spending wood on the ranges and the CA, and you're delaying the boom. Now, this is a natural move for the Huns, but it's also kind of a natural spot for the Khmer to defend with a Scorpion or two. So I think what Vinch will want is he'll want a siege workshop maybe towards the middle. And then if he has mangonels, especially on this hill would be sick, he could keep Heartt in his base and really apply pressure here. It's odd, because Heartt can't really kill anything, but the presence of these light cav essentially disrupt that forward villager. Vinchester will never, ever, ever, ever want that villager or the siege workshop to be defensive here. Yep. Vinchester finding out he can't really get any damage. Everywhere he goes, Heartt's pretty well protected here. Heartt's done a great job. Remember, Khmer Scorpion's 8 range, so they outrange the cav archers. Vinchester should be bringing that Vill soon, but he might just opt for the town centers. Here he's micring away. Heartt now going for a blacksmith to get some upgrades in on those light cav. And will probably aim to come home and heal up some of those light cav. Now that his boom is going good, now Heartt will start to have the food to maybe consider some knights or at least get more light cav on the field. There's the TC for Vinch. Someone says, this is back to what we talked about earlier. Someone says, just tell him when he grows up, his friends will make fun of him for being a streamer and will be told to get a real job constantly. My friends don't really say that to me. In my friend group, if I ever make a complaint about anything, they say, you're a streamer, your life is great, shut up, you know? Which is kind of deserved. It would depend on the level, I suppose. Like, I used to get a lot of "you still live in your mom's basement" comments. Oh my god, Vinchester! To be fair, at that time, I didn't live in my mom and dad's basement. I lived in the attic, so it was slightly different. Monk got sniped. Scorpions and light cav, I think, are going to need a little bit more in the way of upgrades here. Maybe ballistics. We could also see the armor upgrades fly in for the light cav. Heartt struggling for map control right now. But the repairs are coming in. Is that worth it, though? Did he do the math? Feels like he's done the math, but he's still going to lose his Scorpions. I mean, Vinchester is not shy away from these engagements at all. He kills 2 Scorpions. He keeps most of his units alive. 3 TCs behind this for Vinch. Pretty heavy on stone, but so is Heartt. I think they'll want control of that middle soon. Heartt TC number 4. Thing is, Khmer are so hard to kill if they can get a safe corner. It's actually way better to have a corner than like the middle of the map. And that will depend based on how things start. But if you can wedge yourself into a corner, even if you start to lose fights pretty badly, you can still raid your opponent to death. It really surprised that Vinchester just says, who cares about my cav archers? I'll just send in my whole army against your Scorpions. I don't give a crap. He really should give a crap here. I think this is fine for Heartt. Vinchester, make a mangonel. Make a knight or something. Crazy. Scorpions have killed so many. Really well played from Heartt on the repairs as well, honestly. I think Vinchester's doing that. He's used to having more success. But that does give Vinch the middle now. And Vinch didn't have bloodlines? What in the world? Okay. I'd like to see Vinch make, like, 1 siege workshop in the middle. And then he could go mangonel cav archer. But now ballistics is on the way for Heartt. This gets dangerous. I also think that a sneaky dock or two, and I'm not just saying this because Dave is in chat, but I think a sneaky dock or two for demos would be really valuable here. Even the threat of demos could be really valuable. So many Scorpions from Heartt. And Demo Raft still one-shot a Scorpion, so... Heartt has no blacksmith upgrades, which is crazy. But I don't think Heartt can come to the middle. Yeah, this is fine from Heartt. You need to slowly crawl your way. I would almost prefer Heartt Castle over here, though, to protect more stone and gold. It is further than from the middle, though. On the topic of Vinch not making knights, I actually think too much time has passed. When you have this many scorpions with ballistics, you would need a lot more knights than you'd expect. But, again, I can understand. It might have even passed the point where you can make mangonels. I thought Vinch would have mangonels before the 3rd TC. Again, it's kind of the slow approach, though. That's not exactly what you would normally see. How good is the Khmer Navy here? Sorry, need to focus on this. The Khmer Navy is, I'm going to guess, average. No heavy demo, and they get fast fire and galleon. Okay, that's average. I don't think they have... I doubt we'll see shipwright in a game like this. It's been a long series, guys. Obviously, Vinchester's really improved to claw things back right now, but he's run into the castle. But the mangonel has gotten some really nice value. What a change that made. Heartt clicks up to Imp. I want to see Heartt turtle in this corner. Fit every single farm into the corner. Never expand. Make it so you are impossible. It is impossible for your opponent to break you. Micro from Vinchester again. Still no knights. Just tossing away cav archers after the scorpions. If you think about the cost, I can't do math, but it's got to be pretty good for Vinchester at this point. It's also just like kind of ridiculous. Like Heartt's got to be thinking, what are you doing? But it's annoying because Heartt wants to drop a castle over here. Heartt wants to make decisions, and he can't because he's constantly being pressured. And low on gold right now is Heartt. Vinchester might need stone walls in this game. I think against the Khmer, even defensive castles might not be enough. Stonewall the entire shoreline. I mean, this is for a ticket to a LAN event, which either player who wins this could definitely win. Like, you got to get some protection. Heartt was late to upgrades, though. He was late to upgrades. Him being faster to Imp won't play a massive role unless he can get this castle. That's a good castle. But he's worried about it. Vinch has done all this without ballistics. And this is the kind of the castle I wanted from Heartt. The house wall here is great. You're still somewhat vulnerable down here, but you can wall that up or castle that. Vinch is stacking up a few demos, guys. Be ready. And, oh, God! Vinchester, get out! Get away! Get a monk! Monk, I need a monk. Tarkins. Ooh. Oh, I love a couple sneaky Tarkins. Vinchester getting his first upgrades for the Tarkins. He's on 5 TCs now. And one of those TCs is in the gold area. Oh my God, hold on. Memory time. And in fact, there's a slight chance MBL is lurking right now. Arabia game, early December. MBL versus Heartt. Heartt was way ahead with the Huns. He was going full CA, he started to go Hussar. MBL thought he was dead. MBL got to like 30 heavy scorpions, and the Huns have no counter. Heartt actually went Paladin, and after the fact, there was a discussion on should maybe Tarkins have been used because of the extra Pierce armor. But anyways, I wonder if that's living in Heartt's brain right now, and he will fully commit to these scorpions. Even more than he already has. He's got Trebs towards the middle. The Tarkins will take those scorpions. But Heartt has more scorpions. He just cleaned up a small raid over there. He has light cav here. I think Heartt can take this game, guys. Vinchester still hasn't clicked up. Oh, boy. Hold on. Demos are here. Demos will take one of the Trebs. The castle for Heartt is going to be denied. Oh, no! He does get a massive raid. So that raid will be difficult for Vinchester to stop. But this is a problem for Heartt. Also, that Tarkin will run into the back. That will be a pain. And I think these Tarkins Maybe the demos could come out, snipe the Scorpion, snipe that Treb as well. The Scorpions need to get over here to deal with those Cav Archers. Still think Heartt's eco is okay here. Certainly better than Vinchester's because of his base setup. As long as he can get this castle up, he's fine. The Tarkin in his base died. And he has 2 more Trebs here. But seriously, heavy Scorp, man. Heavy Scorp should be the play. Raids alone can still win you this game. But Cav Archers seem to be the most threatening thing. And there we go. Heavy Scorpion from Heartt. I do not know how you break this. I think this is Heartt's series. 3 castles. He doesn't need the gold in the middle right now. He's got more than enough gold. You can even sell off wood. I guess eventually he'll chop through here. Vinch is going for Marauders, though. And dropping stables so he could go Tarkins against these Scorpions. Ooh, man. Vinch really needs this stone right now. There's actually very little stone on this map compared to a lot of other maps. It's also pretty crazy how little stone there is, considering it is a Gold Rush map. Usually Gold Rush maps also have the stone. Vinch still isn't an imp. There's demos coming. If Heartt actually tries this, he might have some big problems. Will Vinch bait him? Vinch could bait him to the water and then eject the demos. Guys, get the emotes ready. Get the demo emotes ready. Heartt thinks he's going to win this fight. The demos are on the way. The Tarkins are in front. That castle will not go up for Heartt. The Trebs are exposed. The Trebs will go down. The Light Cav will die. The Scorpions die. Vinchester's still alive. It's still not amazing for him. He still lost his TC in the middle. This is still a composition that's tough to compete against. But a decent enough job, I guess, to at least keep him in it. Because if this castle goes up, he's in trouble. Again, though, Heartt has access to gold. His resources are fine. His base is not exposed. He has the castle set up. And the Scorpions have crazy range. And will help against everything. I think the winning approach for Heartt is Scorpions through the middle, Hussars around the outside. Vinchester can't protect both at once right now. And I guess the worry for Heartt is if Tarkins are actually insane against Scorpions and you can't use them anymore, you might need another unit. You might need help. And if you need help, that takes time. That takes a tech switch. I just really don't think the Tarkins are that good against it. I think these Scorpions are too strong. And I think Vinchester's going to be completely out of the gold in the middle pretty soon. His pop is high, guys, but that's 150 Vils. He only has 50 army, and I think the army for the Khmer can be so much stronger than what Heartt is even showing here. We haven't seen double crossbow yet, which adds the extra Scorpion bolt. We haven't seen siege engineers yet. But Heartt, don't stack them. Don't stack. Scorpions versus... Scorpions vote! No! Bro! Bro! Oh, God. That was so painful. Dude, you can't stack them up. You cannot stack them up. Oh, man. What is... Vinchester's in crazy mode right now. He drops a castle here? Remember, you can produce the Tarkins from the stables, so... I mean... Heartt might run out of some gold. That was a lot of Scorpions going down. He still can raid. I guess Vinch just knows he can't give up the middle here. Just enough. Every time I see it, it feels like Heartt has just enough resistance. And still the threat to raid. Splitting up his Hussar now. It will be everywhere. Vinchester can't defend all these areas at once. And there's still the 2 Trebs. There are more Scorpions on the way. There's some Pikes mixed in. The castle itself has 21 kills. I think this is Heartt's game to lose, guys. It's just an easier game to play. The straight boom. The turtle mindset was so good. He's also not being raided. I mean, eventually he could be. But Vinch can only get to a position to think about raiding if he actually deals with the middle. Right now, Vinch... He's behind in the middle. He has to defend this or he's dead. And so that's why Heartt can raid him. Oh boy. Okay. Well, Hearttt learned the lesson the hard way last time. The demos don't do near as much this time. And the castle's down for Vinchester. I don't know, guys. I don't know if Vinchester can do this. The docks will start to come up from Hearttt. He can make his own demos now. The trebuchet, the only trebuchet Vinchester has is down. This has got to be it for Hearttt. It'll be Hearttt in Hamburg, Germany. The Garrison, top 8 LAN event again. And Vinchester may be regretting game number 1. Because, I mean, the last 2 or 3 games, this has been the Vinch that we've been expecting to see today. Yeah, again, that first game, he wins there. Obviously, we get to that game number 7, right? This seems like it could be the end for Vinch. When you get to such a good position with the Khmer, where you're just crammed into a corner and then your opponent has to react to you, it's such a tough game. You would need to be fully stonewalled towards the middle with Navy or something if you're Vinchester. I just don't know how he doesn't just chase all the time until he's eventually out of villagers. Hearttt did get double crossbow. So his Scorpions have that upgrade now. So fully upgraded Scorpions. And he's killed 90 villagers. Vinchester will kill the Hussars, but more Hussars will come. 70 on food for Hearttt. A little bit of a raid from Vinchester. So Hearttt has overchopped his woodline, but Hussars could probably deal with that. And Vinchester's down to 100 villagers. He's got like 30 or 40 idols. And this looks like it's probably the end. As long as Hearttt has the gold, which he does, the mining camp's actually hilarious. But still, he's got the gold. Hearttt should be in position to do pretty much everything from here. I just don't know what to tell Vinch. If there weren't castles here, I'd say raid as well. Maybe consider a couple docks to go for more demos if you haven't already tried it. But this is just going to be a high eco raiding game for Hearttt. And by that, I mean, he shouldn't delete vills. At 150 vills, that's fine. You just keep tossing away Hussars to kill your opponent's vills. And the amount of vills you have versus the amount of vills your opponent has is just going to widen and widen and widen. It just absolute stonks from here. Resources rising for you. Everybody else struggling. I don't even know if Vinchester will be able to get that relic there. That feels unlikely. The Trebs advance forward. We now have Halbs with the heavy Scorps. This would be the killer death comp. This could be what you do instead of anything else. Look at this dude. These Scorpions are insane. This is ridiculous. And Huns don't get Onager or Bombard Cannon, so you really don't have a good answer to the Khmer late game. Heavy demos on the way from Vinch, so he'll aim for a big demo for us, but look how much he's lost before that demo even comes in. This might be the first time we've seen Hearttt win with heavy Scorpions, but it won't be the last if he plays the Khmer in the main event. Really like this civilization choice, too. A lot of people pick civilizations that are good on water, but on a map like this, you can just boom and play the late game. I think water is kind of a side story on this map, unless it's Vikings involved. Really good performance from Hearttt. He looked really prepped in all these games. Vinchester, I think, is tapping out now. And there it is. Hearttt wins 4-2. My food is arriving. I just got a notification. My food is arriving in 7 minutes. What a day, dude. What a day. What great timing from Hearttt. He's truly my guy. And, well played. Listen, I love Vinchester. He's one of my favorite players, but the thing he lacked today was consistency. He became the Vinchester we know and love in game number 4. And Hearttt was, well, Hearttt for the very first second of the very first game. Or actually, maybe he was Hearttt like late imp game number 1. He did have a little bit of a slow start, in all fairness. That's what you've come to expect from Hearttt. You expect that he's in that top 10 conversation. He's back to another LAN event, solidified into the top 8. Congratulations to him. Obviously, Vinchester still gets $500. He had a very good run in the qualifier, but I imagine there's probably a bit of disappointment for Vinch because things could have gone slightly differently in some games. to maybe take us to a 7th game.